Hello and welcome to The Dive. This is episode 4 of season 3. This is Azael, I am Kobe, and our special guest is Wild Turtle. Welcome, Wild Turtle.
What's up?
How are you doing this fine morning?
It's pretty early morning for us gamers. Doing pretty good.
Bright and early. We had to get him in before the scrim so we could have him for 9.3. We're going to be talking about that with all the marksman changes. So we're really glad to have you here for that. But first, Turtle, you're a content man yourself these days. So we wanted to ask you, how did it feel to be the man doing the interviews instead of getting interviewed with your FlyQuest interview series?
It felt pretty fun just because I always get interviews, so I kind of know like the questions I kind of want to ask to the other players too. And as a player, I kind of know what answers I want to be asked, so I just kind of just did something like that. And yeah, I think that's kind of how my interview style was. I just do what
you wanted.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed when you went to Worlds and you were interviewing a lot of the players and you kept asking your cameraman for the next question. A little bit more prep work maybe?
No, I mean, I did my own prep too, but they prompted me. I talked to them about it and they reminded me what it is.
Always helpful when you got good people around you.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely makes it easier. Do you think you'd want to do more content stuff like that in the future? Because it seemed like you had some fun with it. People really liked it. I had heard about you doing these interviews, and I was like, okay, yeah, someone doing some more interviews. But then when I actually watched it, I ended up watching all of them in a row, and I really enjoyed them.
Yeah, I definitely want to do like something similar to it. Like it's something that's really fun to me, and we're gonna be MSIs in Vietnam this year, and I speak a little bit, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty hype.
That's super cool. So FlyQuest starting this season has been one of the biggest stories for us, actually, because you guys just this last weekend, you guys were playing for first place against Team Liquid, and you had a close 2 games, both of them. How has the new roster been feeling for you?
It's been feeling pretty good for me personally. I feel like a lot more motivated playing on this team because we just have like pretty young players. Like I think I'm the oldest player on this team, and I'm 2 years older than the next youngest person. So it's been pretty good because we have Viper in the top lane. He's a rookie top laner, and he's really hungry to win. And when I see him making these mistakes that like maybe I made when I was like a rookie too, I'd be like, damn, he's still like in this learning phase, and he still has a lot to learn. But I really like how he's progressed as a player, and same with JJ pretty much. Yeah.
Azael was one of your biggest critics when seeing just the lineup on paper heading into the season.
Yeah. Well, when we did our power rankings, Kobe had you 7th, Jat had you 8th.
Yeah, wow.
And I had, Jat had you, no, yeah, 8th, and then I had you guys last, and I was very wrong, I will admit. But it's tough, right? There was a group of teams that we were thinking that I wasn't sure really how they would gel together, and I think one of the things that has really impressed me about your guys' team is that it does actually feel like you guys have a really good teamwork. Like you're actually better, I think, than the individual pieces, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of curious how you feel as far as like community expectations for the team, what those were, and how you guys are doing now, and kind of where you guys see yourselves going forward. Because most people had you outside of playoffs, and you guys have clearly shown that you are capable of being a playoff team and maybe going even further.
I would still say it's like pretty early in the split, and it's really hard to say. Like we completely dropped the ball like this week. I'd say like we're on week 3. What
3? We've had done 3 weeks. Going into week 4.
Yeah, going into week 4. So our last week 3, I think we completely dropped the ball. We didn't really improve that much from week 2, week 3, and every team was getting better. And I think from today or yesterday, actually, we started scrims. We're like practicing a lot more like we would on LCS. So we're just gonna try to fix our macro mistakes and fix a lot of our individual and team mistakes.
Yeah, for me, what I've been seeing when watching you guys and kind of what we expected and why some of the ratings at the beginning of the season were low were the 2, kind of newest guys. Is definitely Viper because he's coming straight out of Challenger.
Yeah.
And also JJ because he was still pretty fresh.
Yeah.
And some of the things like, how are they going to play with the team? Do they have good roam timings? / you still have to manage your waves so you don't fall behind in CS and things like that.
And there's so many good top laners now. I feel like in the league, I thought he was going to struggle a lot more than he has. Like he has done, I think well, certainly. Yeah, there's obviously been some mistakes here and there, but he's going up against Huni and Someday and Impact and all these guys, and it's like, oh my god! I was looking at it from that point of view. It seems pretty intimidating league for a new top laner.
Yeah, I think for him, he's like really confident. Like he knows he can like play 1v1 against these players. But his biggest issue is not the 1v1 right now. It's like how he's moving around the mid game, how he's getting us to windows, how he's pressuring the map. And I think that's like the biggest difference coming straight from like Challenger into LCS, because the LCS players, their roam windows are a lot larger and they know what to do.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense. I mean, we've been focusing so much on team play, especially this season, that like one of the biggest difficulties is communication and like how each team works differently depending on the personality.
Yeah, depending on the person, yeah.
I also feel like one of the things that you guys have had a lot of success with, and I think just in general, I've seen it throughout LCS, the split, is teams drafting multiple forms of engage are having such a better time than these teams that are drafting things like where maybe Lee is their only form of engage and they're doing, you know, Lee Aatrox and all this sort of stuff that's more mid and early game focused, where if you make that one mistake, then all of a sudden the other team, you know, has better scaling, has the Scion, has the Ornn, all this sort of stuff. And I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are just on the meta in general, as far as, you know, all these hard engaged teams, because we've seen so many times now throughout this split where teams draft early game, draft mid game, and then either aren't able to actually close, or, you know, maybe the other team just kind of is outscaling them with these tanks.
I just think right now the issue is it's pretty early in the split, and a lot of teams haven't picked comps that are like extremely clear win conditions.
Yeah,
like, you know, they don't, like, some comps just don't have that, and like if you see those comps, it's like, let's say like Lucian with like very low CC team, that's like a team where it's like, how are you gonna like close the game? You can't really hit turrets.
Yeah, you're like, control the dragons all the whole game.
Yeah, and I think for at least for our team, is our biggest weakness is probably how we play around the mid game. I think a lot of the teams' mid games are like awful right now in North America, and that's a point we're working on right now.
If you could point out one main thing in the mid game, what would it be?
Our vision, like the way we control our vision, is just not ideal.
Definitely hear that a lot, and that is the definitely. I mean, it's everybody's job, right? But it does put a little bit more emphasis on jungle and supports. Yeah. And we kind of touched on your two new guys.
Yeah.
But also, you have played with Santorin and Pobelter before in past teams. Santorin on TSM, where you guys went to Worlds, and Pobelter as well on Immortals. How has it been being reunited with these guys? Because that seems like, you know, bringing the old crew back together. You've been actually in the scene for so long.
Yeah, I guess I have, because I've already played two of these players. It feels pretty good playing with these players again. Pobelter, he's grown a lot since the last time I played against him. It's the same with Santorin as well. I played with Santorin when he was pretty much like 17, so like he's
all grown up.
We're all grown up now, so it's definitely a whole different dynamic now, and it still feels pretty good to play with him, and I still get along with him pretty well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I do think a lot of people always, you know, look at some of these players, and it feels like some of the players on your team are guys who get overlooked a lot. You know, when people talk about Pobelter, they're like, oh, well, Pobelter, he wasn't that, you know, he just got carried. And Santorin, I feel like people say a lot of the same things. You know, there's these guys who have had a tremendous amount of success and are kind of sometimes consistently getting overlooked. Do you think that's just a lack of understanding from the community, where people don't necessarily aren't able to see exactly what makes these players good or what they're actually bringing to the table, other than just kills and deaths on the scoreboard?
Yeah, I think that's like one of the hardest parts about like community perceiving players, because you don't really know what they contribute to a team. You don't know like what communications they're giving, because every player does like, I would say like every player is different. No player like does the exact same thing every game. Like, even for me, like, I know I flash in and do like stupid things a lot, but that's just not really specific.
Not as much anymore.
Not as much anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like an instance, and I think like some players do things extremely well, whether it's like teamwork, like sometimes you have like selfish players, and sometimes you just have players that give you everything. So there's definitely like it's like a personality game.
What do you think are some of the things that those guys do that maybe people wouldn't actually recognize that make them so good? Because they have, you know, Pobelter has had a ton of championships. He's had success on so many teams. You know, what is something that he does that maybe people aren't realizing that is actually making him have these consistent results?
I think Pobelter, he's like a guy that's like really good at like understanding situations. So he's like very good at like getting us a really good like map. Like, he's just really good at engaging, I guess. You've seen as Lissandra.
And Lissandra, the Galio fight.
Yeah, he's really good at flanking. He's really good at just like starting the fights and making sure we have like a good team fighting.
I kind of remember that a lot from him, just even in solo queue and even on champions like TF. You know? Yeah. He's always looking for the way in, right? He's always looking how to start the fight. I can answer the same question as Zell for Santorin. Because Santorin right now, he has the highest kill participation. He has the highest first blood rate. He has the most kills of any jungler. And he only has less KDA than Xsmithy because they're on Team Liquid, and Team Liquid's won all the games. When you win
a lot, your KDA is usually.
But Santorin is popping off, and that's what he's bringing to the table this time around. He's come a long way from everyone memeing him for becoming a ward bot on TSM.
Yeah. But it has come a long way. Yeah, I always thought like even the days on TSM, like he was a very good like mechanical player. Like his Lee Sin and Elise were already pretty good, but he was never able to like showcase how good he was at those champions.
That's the thing though. I feel like community can understand when there's numbers like that, right? Like they can look at Santorin and like, all right, he has the most skills,
good player.
Yeah, he's a good KDA and he gets first blood a lot of time. Okay, well this guy's good, right? Everyone else sucks. But when it's less obvious and where maybe there's other things that people are contributing, that's where I think it is harder to tell. And even for casters, even for people who watch the game constantly, one of the things that you have no idea on is who's actually calling things in game. What is that atmosphere like around the team? What are like all these extra things that players bring to the team? And that's something that sometimes we miss out on. And I think that's one of the easiest things to get wrong. Talking about NALCS a bit. People have been criticizing NA for being a really slow region. It is, you said, I believe, the slowest win time for any region right now.
What's the average win time?
Going into last week, it was 35-45.
Jeez.
Yeah.
NA games are. I mean, I guess we inflated one of the games too because we had a 40-minute game
or whatever.
Yeah. We were talking about this a little bit before though, because there's a couple different ways to look about it, right? And for me, one of the other things I was bringing up was in the early game, I've seen a lot of trading. So if you look at all the turret plates and how powerful dragons are, we've actually done pretty active early games in some of the games. But a lot of the wealth is traded, so one team doesn't get significantly more powerful than the others. So there's not as much snowballing. But you've also had a lot of scrim experience and everything with the type of games that have been going on in our region. How do you feel it has really shaped into this? Maybe some of the possible.
I just think people like they fail a lot when they have the control. Like most teams, like when they either like give up the control too easily or they
so we're bad.
Yeah. I mean it's just not
could have lied to us.
Just not controlling the vision really well because like even for us, like the games we were ahead in the game we should have won against COG, or maybe not should have won, but we had a pretty big goal lead. We pretty much just didn't set up in their jungle like at all, and we kind of just let them come back in the game by not choking them out and letting them just farm. So that was our biggest mistake, and I can see like a lot of the games too, people do throw that way, and we also pick the comps like the full poke comps now, so the games do go longer.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I do think vision is such an important part of being able to close that out. When I think of one of the few games I've seen where someone didn't actually draft late game and was able to close it out was C9 playing some of their poke comps. And one of the things that they did do so well was, as you say, actually controlling vision in the enemy jungle, farming away all their camps. And they had such a focus on pink wards that it was, I think the game I'm thinking of was actually against Golden Guardians, I want to say. And they were running like Zoe and Ezreal and, just all this pokey style stuff. And if you can actually force them constantly to be checking into fog against a poke team, that's where you can actually start getting picks. But, when teams are trying to walk down a lane with that, if you can see them coming, it's very hard to actually feels like close out a game.
If you're A-ramming mid, you normally never get to win the game.
Yeah. Unless you're the Scion team.
Yeah.
Then it's great.
TSM has been a pretty big topic because they had a really bad start. And Reggie even posted on social media. A lot of people were, and St. Vicious as well, I think, chimed in as like TSM are doing a lot in the early game as far as this early game talk we're talking about, like trying to force a lot of plays. But Reggie said their big mistakes were in the mid game. I would say that they have also messed up a lot of the early game plays. If you've seen some of the Acadian plus Broken Blade, they're like two-man skirmishes.
Yeah, we've seen them mess that up like pretty often.
Yeah, in scrims and stuff as well, or just on stage. It's really interesting to me to like kind of evaluate all the teams right now because there is Team Liquid at the top. They're back-to-back champions. They added a world champion to their back-to-back championship roster, and they got Jensen. But maybe underneath Team Liquid, it does feel like there are so many teams that have a chance at establishing control there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it is interesting the Twitter conversation because there's like a lot of people chiming in and kind of arguing.
Yeah.
Because Saint was talking about how he thought basically TSM was one of the only teams being aggressive, and that was kind of the reason that they weren't really having success. And then ThinkCard was chiming in and saying no, all these other teams are aggressive. That's not true. So it is interesting. Everyone looks at the game so differently, right? And I do think TSM. I don't think they're doomed rather, right? A lot of people are starting to get pretty kind of down on them, I think, very, very early. But as you say, it's spring, right? Like there's a lot of games to play. There's a lot of time to improve, especially when you are incorporating new players into a team, right? They have Broken Blade, who's very, very fresh, and Acadian is playing with these new players. So, Smoothie being incorporated with Sven after Sven had played with Mithy for so many years. So I think that team still has a lot of time to grow, but one of the teams that has been kind of impressing me and stepping a bit away from the rest of the pack is certainly Cloud9. I think Cloud9, I wasn't expecting them to, I guess maybe do it like as well as quickly, because I felt like they're gonna have a hot start because they had their big Korean boot camp and all that. But Niski, I feel like has filled in Jensen's shoes really, really well. Like, the team doesn't really feel very different than when I was watching them in the past in NA, and that's something that I wasn't fully expecting. Like, I knew Niski was good, but Cloud9 is still able to kind of play their style and play these aggressive comps and play these different strategies.
Yeah. I mean, they won World, so
yeah.
World, so I mean, 4 of the players that are still there, so they definitely retain like a lot of knowledge going into spring.
Yeah, it's just interesting to see because a lot of people I think were really concerned about the loss of Jensen, but Niski has been doing a great job.
Yeah, he definitely has. I really also feel like Cloud9 benefits so much from kind of the structure that they've worked on for so long. Reaper has always been such a good coach, and they've always had Sneaky as this. He's been playing as long as you have. You guys were on Quantic together.
not together. I mean, like after.
Yeah. But like he's always been this kind of rock for them, I feel like, because his personality is like so jovial and he can kind of keep everybody on the same page. But now also FLICKR stepping in with how much success he's had. He also seems like another guy who would be a leader on that team. Do you know anything about like the
I don't know anything about team dynamic. All I know is like Sneaky does a lot of other things. That's pretty much all I've heard.
So who do you see as the teams that you think are going to kind of start to like separate themselves from the pack a bit then?
Right? It really depends. So right now, like I feel like every week is totally different. Like 9-1, 9-2, 9-3. Like all the patches are extremely different. Like we already lost the Akali, Aatrox is nerfed, Galio's nerfed. Like you're losing so many champions. Lissandra got nerfed on 9-3. And then AD carry are like completely different now because of the new items. And I just feel like whichever team can figure out like the patches the quickest and are able to pull away, is gonna be like it could be us, it could be another team. I don't even know it could be, but it's a team to figure out the patch will definitely pull ahead.
Well, Clutch tried their hand at the Frostfang patch, and they went full poke team composition. Tried to do that first, and it like they didn't end up winning that game, but I feel like that's the type of thing that you're talking about. Like, as soon as something new comes out, the first people to jump on it. Like, Cloud9 were the first to play Silas. FLICKR was the only good one that I've seen out of all the pro games that I've watched.
I just think it's like the style. Like, whoever can master like a certain style and like are able to like, I guess, cheese games would just like get all wins,
I mean, Urgot is going to be still in there pretty heavily for 9.3, so that's still going to be there. But I'm pretty happy that a lot of the other stuff is kind of getting knocked out, and people have to be a bit more creative.
I don't like Urgot either. Urgot's like
he's really not fun to watch.
Yeah, he's not fun to watch. He's such a fat tank.
Yeah,
a fat tank.
And then they also they tweeted out, the Balance team. They did a very quick hotfix for the Frostfang thing.
Yeah.
So even though we did see that last weekend, the hotfix is actually going to be in for this weekend because I think a lot of the teams voted for it. So that won't be another one of the adjustments that we have to look for. I think 9-3 itself is still going to be interesting, though.
Yeah. Another team a lot of people are talking about is Golden Guardians. It was looking pretty doomed for them. Started with the 0-4 again, after 2 10th place splits back to back. And they did not only get one win, but they had a 2-0 weekend. And Contracts was saying it's probably his first 2-0 since he was back on Cloud9.
Wow.
So, this is like a big deal for them. What do you? Like, I'm kind of interested to hear what you guys think about Golden Guardians in general. Like, is this just a kind of flash in the pan 1 week, or do you think they're going to start actually becoming a better team? Because they did look, I think, a lot stronger. But the Karthus pick also, I think, was pretty huge for them.
Yeah, Karthus definitely is a big part of it, but I feel like too many fans are saying, oh, it was only this one thing, because I feel like people have a tendency to pinpoint something about it that was repeated in both ones. It's just like, well, yeah, exactly. Like, that was the whole reason. That's the only reason they won. Watching those games, they do I think the biggest thing they did was, while they did draft strong late game, they also played accordingly, right? So they played defensively. They collapsed in their own jungle. They got a lot of gold back in the early game, while TSM was playing aggressively, and that allowed them to get to their mid game, to get to their Ezreal scaling and Karthus to come through. And I do think that Froggen will have more options. Yeah, Karthus is a very unique champion and super strong right now, and I think he's actually even on their like table for nerfs. They tweeted out another picture of like what they're planning to nerf. So that definitely is a part. But I also think that the Golden Guardians had some genuine improvement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like Hunter said in his interview, like they're just improving as a team. And before they were playing like more individual style, I think, like just pick strong lanes and hope they can like win just because they're individually better. But it's really hard to like just win that way, I think. So now I think they're putting a bigger focus on performing as a team. And yeah, they're just finding their stride as a team right now.
I really like the bringing up, patch to patch, week to week, who's going to do well in the new meta. Let's look at this upcoming weekend, because your first game is going to be against 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
And they are just coming off of a 2-0 weekend. Someday looked way better. Bang had his pop-off moment where he chases down Power of Evil. And he's like, it's Bang!
Yeah, this is Bang!
Yeah,
this is Bang!
This is Bang.
So... in your interpretation of 9.3 and how you think the meta is going to be, how do you guys think you're going to stack up versus 100 Thieves?
I mean, what day is it today? It's Wednesday.
It is.
Only
it's early too. It's still really early. 9 something.
Yeah. So right now for our team, we're like putting in a lot of time right now. We're playing like even triple blocks just because it's a new patch, and we really want to get on top of 9.3 because I think we kind of dropped the ball last week on week 3, and 9.2 was just a patch we didn't really adapt to very well. So I think everyone's on our team is putting a lot more effort in learning 9.3 and just seeing what's OP. I don't want to share too much because we're playing this weekend.
You don't have to share secrets. Maybe you can speculate on 100 Thieves and what they might put up against you.
Honestly, I don't even know. AD carries is just going to be really fun, I think, this week. Like, you might see like a lot of new AD carries. I think Ezreal is still going to be very highly contested. It's the most popular pick in North America right now with like a 71% win rate or something. Like absurd.
Yeah, especially for all the late game stuff. We were talking about it. I mean, Ezreal's late game is so safe. It's so insane, especially when people are doing a lot of Tahm Kench Ezreal. It always feels like, okay, Ezreal's on 6 items. There's no chance he could ever die now with Tahm Kench sitting behind him. It's pretty insane. How is it for you when seeing all these imports come over? Is it exciting for you, or do you not really care playing against guys like Bang when he comes over, and Huni and Someday and all these guys, like as they're getting imported? Is that kind of exciting as an opportunity to prove yourself against them?
Yeah, it's definitely very exciting. You just want to see like where you stand against them and like what new tricks you can pick up. If they have like tricks they bring from their region, and then you just like steal them, and you're like, nice, I'm Korean. I'm Korean now. Nice. And then I think the thing I don't think Ezreal is deserving of a nerf right now, but he is a champion that is pretty strong. I just think teams haven't figured out like a way to effectively play against this champion, because his laning phase is like pretty weak. Yeah. But he does like scale like a monster. So it's really hard to say like, oh, is it? Yeah, I don't know.
The hybrid build. So even how much burst damage he can do to champions if you hit your skill shots. At least you have to hit your skill shots.
Yeah.
But looking at him killing turrets, he's like, boom, 2 shots, 3 shots, turrets dead.
Yeah.
It seems so nuts later.
That's kind of absurd.
It's pretty insane.
I don't know like what like I feel like if he gets any nerfs, he's just gonna be like unfun to play.
Yeah, because you do still have to like you still have to play 2-tier items. You have to go through the early game.
You still have to play really well to like play this champion.
Yeah, and you have to hit your skill shots.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things is that he's not actually standing out as far as like regular solo queue play. Like, he's one of the lowest win rate AD carries. Right.
But, don't nerf.
But if you're really, really good at him, he kind of reminds me. He's kind of almost the AD carry equivalent of when I think of Azir and Ryze and some of these champions that would still get pro play even with crap win rates, because if you're super good at him, he's super good, right?
I mean, we've nerfed champions with like 46% win rates
true.
before.
But usually when they have kind of unfun play patterns and stuff, and then I guess that's the argument is like, is Ezreal making the game uninteresting or whatever? And if people feel that he is, then I could definitely see
I think it really goes back to NA teams. I know I'm putting a lot of emphasis on this, but like we're not good at mid game. Like most of the NA teams just don't have like a solid mid game, and the counter to Ezreal is just like being able to control the mid game very well and like not allowing him to set up
scale 2 tiers.
Yeah, not allowing him to set up to start poking, and that's like where teams are faltering against this guy, because once you have the control as Ezreal, you can just like hold it for a really long time, because the way he plays around mid priority is just crazy. He just gets to poke you from everywhere.
Do you think that you have to play that mid game style then, or do you think that like we can maybe even go into a little bit of 9.3 talk with this, but there's obviously the new ADC item changes coming out in 9.3 that's going to be live for LCS this weekend, which is going to be pretty cool to watch. But with some of that coming in, are there crit marksmen you think you can just pick and say, okay, we're gonna like handshake and you play slow, but I'm playing Jinx, or you play slow, but I'm playing Sivir, or whatever? Do you think that's an opportunity as well, or do you actually his late game is just too safe? It's just too consistent.
I do think Jinx is probably back in the. It's really hard to say. It's the patch hasn't even been out for that long, I think. And there's just so many new picks you can pick. I think AD carry is gonna be definitely a lot more fun. I think people will see a lot more variety. I think we already have like really good variety in AD carries in LCS, but even with this new patch, it'll be more champions showing up as well.
Do you want to talk about the new patch a little bit more then? Because you were talking a little bit earlier, and you're like, if I see,
I just don't want to share like too much of what I'm trying to figure out, but I'm not trying to share too much of what I'm trying to figure out, but
you got some good picks ready, and you got some counter picks ready.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out my counter picks. That's what it is right now.
All right, I like it. I like always having things prepared. Last week, Azale was really loving the Phantom Dancer just as one of the new items, how much safety it provides. I feel like that does open up a lot of options for AD carries.
Phantom Dancer is by far like the happiest change I've had on 9.3. Like I just love buying that item. It helps me play like a lot more aggressive, which is what I like to do. So yeah, I think overall I just really like the change to PD. Like it's actually an item.
Yeah. I mean it's really strong. As you said, we talked about it a little bit last week, but also their intention was giving you some sort of defensive option that didn't feel like it's ruining your build path. And I think it's super has done that, right? You're playing against a fed Rengar, you're playing against a fed LeBlanc or whatever. And now you don't have to feel like you have to go some terrible build to be able to not get one shot, right?
Yeah, that feels amazing, honestly. Like I can't really emphasize how much that's helped, because like normally you would just buy like a Storm Razor, a crit item, and then you'd be like, oh damn, do I have to get Hexdrinker for this LeBlanc, or do I get my IE? Because if I get Hexdrinker, I'm not gonna do any damage.
Yeah, especially when they have LeBlanc and a Scion or something, right? Where you need to actually have really high DPS to even be able to hurt them at all.
If they have LeBlanc and Scion, and you have to like stray away from buying IE just like for a little bit, it's like, damn, I'm using 1,300 gold on Hexdrinker just to stay alive from LeBlanc. And that feels pretty bad.
I'm seeing that meme of the dude turning around holding the one girl's hand.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, he's holding the Hexdrinker and he's like, but I feel like that thing might be, that meme might be a thing of the past with the new Phantom Dancer. He can get everything he wants, find the one.
Yeah, I think pretty much everyone is going to be going PD against any sort of aggressive team if you're worried about getting burst down at all. I mean, it's just a generic kind of catch-all item. It's magic, it's physical, it's everything. The shield is obviously really, really strong and doesn't disrupt your build path. We're also seeing, a lot of the other changes. Storm Razor is another one. Curious to get your opinions on that one, Turtle, because I have not really felt like it fits too well into a lot of the builds that I was looking at or trying. It's quite expensive, and the stats on it don't really feel like it justifies it unless you're trying to do. I mean, some people are doing some of the stuff where they're doing rapid fire Storm Razor Caitlyn or Tristana or whatever, because there's some cheesy stuff you can do where I think you can actually outrange the turret and just try to slowly poke down. So I don't know if we're going to see strategies built around that, but it just feels for my money, better just buy another Zeal or a Bloodthirster or something.
Yeah, there's just so many better items you could buy than Storm Razor. I feel like it has the stats on it are just like not great, and even the slow you get from it is like not amazing or anything. Where you're gonna like, it's not like you're gonna proc it and like catch someone. It's actually rarely gonna happen like that. So it's always just better to buy. I think right now just buy like BT or like another crit item, just because it's so much more cost effective than this item is. Like when I buy this item, I'm like, damn, I'm gonna start popping off. But you buy it and you do like virtually no damage.
Yeah.
I literally thought this item, like I thought the new build was gonna be on Jin, the IE rapid fire cannon and Storm Razor, just because I thought if you proc Storm Razor, you'd be able to land like all your W's. So that's not the case.
Yeah,
it's not the case.
I'm also looking. I mean, so much of the patch is centered on the marksman and the crit item changes, but it's not just those item changes. I feel like so many of the powerful solo laners have also been nerfed. You know, the Aatrox and Akali and all that stuff. And I think Urgot is, you know, he's on the table for the next one. He's escaping for now, but soon, I guess. So if they're nerfing a lot of the powerful solo laners, plus even Camille Jungle got a big hit on 9.3, and she was a really big one of the aggressive junglers. With those two things, plus the fact that we already had superpower first dragon bonuses, I feel like everything is pointing me towards the bottom lane as far as you know, the 9.3 meta. And that's been the way that I've been playing, at least for jungle, is targeting so much more towards the bottom lane. Do you think that we're going to see that in LCS? Is all the teams just kind of go that side of the map? And what does maybe that mean for the rest of the, you know, top laners and stuff like that?
I think for sure, like getting your AD carry is like always good to get him ahead. But ultimately, I think it's still going to be like a solo oriented game where if you get like the top laner ahead, he's going to be able to do like a lot more on the map just because he has a TP. The thing is, like, if you get your top laner an advantage and he has TP advantage, your bot lane is going to be able to play like a lot better too, you know?
Yeah, it's really bottom lane's advantage.
I guess it is in the end. At the end of the day, if you help another lane, they're always gonna help you back.
It's funny because depending on what role someone you talk to plays, they always tell you it's a different role that is the role that matters most. Because every top laner I talk to is just saying,
everyone's like,
no one wants to come up here and help my ass. They're all, come down bot lane. Oh, there's waves of your turret. Well, TP bot lane. That's okay. Don't worry about it. You don't need that farm.
Yeah, you don't need that wave. There's a wave down here for me.
Yeah, for me. And you got TP so I can get it.
I think actually like 9.3 is like a lot of like really centered on AD carries. I think it's really similar to the last patch in terms of like you're still gonna get that Ezreal in your game. You're still gonna get like eyes in your games. Like the pool for AD carries is pretty much gonna stay pretty similar. But now all these other top laners are like changed, nerfed, like removed, and I think there's gonna be like a ton of new picks for top laners. That's just my prediction for this week. Like you're probably gonna see a lot of new faces.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about that. That's the best thing for me about seeing a lot of these OPs get nerfed is it's actually freeing up more bans. And I don't really care that much that Urgot is still going to be OP because I think he's going to get banned every game because he's the kind of last remaining guy of these super high presence champions that didn't get nerfed. So, okay, there's one ban that you have to do each game or whatever if it's Urgot. Maybe there's some others that people are still going to feel, but he should be getting taken off the table a lot. And then it does open up for a lot of these other ones that I'm more excited to see, like the Silas. I think York should definitely be in there. I think he's really strong. And I do think that opens up for a lot of other champions. As soon as you bring in a couple new champions, then there's the whole, new door opened up of, okay, well, what counters that and what works well with that? And you can start seeing a lot of different stuff. I know Fiora came out in the LCK. I've been seeing a lot of pros playing Jace and some of these other picks like that as well. If York is getting played, Yasuo is the biggest counter to York, so maybe we get some Yasuo. It would be pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, so let's apply some of this patch discussion that we're having to LCS teams. And I want to get back to what I asked you before about your 100 Thieves matchup coming up. Because you're specifically going to be laying against Bang. And of course, their top laner Someday, who, had a really good week last week and can teleport down. How do you feel like, maybe what type of players they are and, how they fit into this 9.3?
I think if Huhi's on an engaged champion, it's going to be really scary. Like his Lissandra was really good last week, and his roaming, like his Aurelion Soul. Obviously, he doesn't play that anymore, but I do think Someday is a really strong top laner right now. Like you can see most of his games, he's always like doing really well. I don't think he's gotten like dominated on yet. So
yeah,
Someday is always like that backbone for them. So I think against our match against 100 Thieves is just gonna be like if we're able to get like a solid early game and just being able to translate that to like objectives and just playing the objective game really well. Because right now I think 100 Thieves has gotten a lot better than they were from just week 1. Like week 2, they were getting slowly better, and then week 3 they actually got 2 games, and I think they're still improving right now. And we're in the phase of improving too, so I have no idea what that's gonna be because I don't think we're that good right now either. Like we have so many issues. I think every team has like a lot of issues. It's just whoever shows up on that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever does not show their issues.
It's kind of that's what it feels like to me right now. It's like whoever just shows up on like LCS day, because I think most of these teams are extremely close. Like nobody, I don't think anybody expected CLG to be like 3-3 right now, and they just came back because they just showed up big on those days. It's just a game of feel.
Yeah, Someday is also a guy that I am excited to watch play because he is one of the ones that I think is pretty willing to bring out new picks. Last year we saw him bring out Darius. I think he was one of the only guys that played out Nasus at one point as a tank counter. I have seen him practicing a lot of the spell thief stuff, which got patched out. But you know he is very willing, it seems like, to try a lot of the new stuff and experiment. Both him and FLICKR are 2 guys that I'm kind of looking at to bring out some cool stuff. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited for that. I know FLICKR obviously already brought out the Silas. He's known for the Echo, which didn't work, and the Hecarim, which did work. So it'll be
Hecarim,
cool.
I think, was on their little graphic of
as a buff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
A lot of solo queue Hecarim actually.
I'm actually so excited for it.
How can Hecarim be buffed? The rank 1 guy in NA right now is a Hecarim player.
Yeah, really? I've been seeing a lot of Hecarim in solo queue.
Yeah,
people are playing.
I love Hecarim still. Getting early Predator and just running around the map super fast has been
let me double check right now. I'm pretty sure the rank 1 NA player is the Hecarim, or like
if that comes to fruition, and again, when they're tweeting stuff out like that, those are just kind of what they're thinking about, what's on the board.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that they're giving us that insight into it. So I don't want people to flame them if it doesn't come out or whatever, because they're letting us in on stuff they're working on that might not come out. And they could change their mind. So
we don't know. I found him. He's ranked 2. Yeah. He's ranked 2. But he's a
he has a lot of other stuff.
But he's a Jarvan one trick now. So.
Yeah, he switched over the Jarvan.
But he's honestly a Hecarim one trick. But he's playing a lot of Jarvan now. So
yeah, he's got the mind of a Hecarim.
He's got the
body of a Jarvan.
Yeah, body of a Jarvan.
He's a true Centaur player.
Yeah.
So as a pro player in LCS, you're talking about just like it's all about who shows up on the day. Then how are you trying to best like control that so that you guys are putting your best foot forward on any given LCS day? If all these teams are that similar that anyone could beat anyone.
I mean, it's just like how you're practicing now. I think like if you're able to translate like what you're practicing onto LCS, and I think that's like one of our issues too. Like we're not able to practice in a way where it's like easy to translate to LCS. And I do think that the teams that do play the best are the teams that are able to do that. Like I'm sure some teams feel like they can translate like what they've learned in scrims to LCS, because like a lot of people were saying Golden Guardians was a good team and they were like pretty good in scrims too, but they were never able to translate like their early game leads in LCS to like something bigger. And I think that's what they realize, and a lot of players are just training the way they practice now, because you can't just pick 3 winning lanes in scrims and just like stomp them and be like, yo, we're so good.
Yeah, not really gonna learn a lot from that, I guess, right?
It's kind of interesting to me because with a lot of the scrims I've watched, obviously there is
unless you're G2, of course.
There you go.
G2 can definitely do it.
It's like almost like a meme, like the limit testing and whatever. People talk about that a lot in scrims, but a lot of times when I've seen scrims, it is players playing so ridiculously aggressive that you would never do that on the LCS stage.
You would never do that,
right? I will not say the team name, but I had watched a scrim where legitimately both top laners TP'd to a bottom lane level 1 fight before minions had spawned. They're just fighting, right? The bot lanes start poking each other, and one top laner starts TPing in, the other top laner starts TPing in, and they just have a 5v5 brawl in the bot lane at level 1 before minions are up. And I'm just thinking, okay, to a certain point there is limit testing, and you need to understand, okay, who kills who at what items, and you need to understand all that stuff, and that makes a lot of sense. But do you think that people sometimes aren't just taking scrims seriously enough or are being too reckless with it, if there's such a big divide that, you know, you're not able to bring your practice into stage success. Because I feel like I hear that so commonly from pros where people say, oh, well, it worked in scrims. Why, right? You know, it's like, but then they get on stage and then you're okay. Anytime the jungler could be top, you're going to back off instead of fighting, right? You know, Jace is a good example. People always kind of meme that pick as the NA Jace. But I know so many people talk to me about how successful it is constantly in scrims because they play very aggressively. They're up there pushing the turret. They're up there hitting for tower damage nonstop, whereas maybe on stage they're always going to back off.
I think it also goes to the point that, like, some players between, like, scrims and stage, like, some players are really good at, like, playing safe in, like, matchups and scrims. Like sometimes people pick Jace and the other guy that they're playing Jace against isn't playing very well and they just give him like a free kill, like give him like a really good trade. But on stage they would like never give him like anything like that. So he would never be able to snowball.
Yeah.
So one specific thing I heard about for this and very recently is the Victor. So everybody was complaining about all the LCS teams picking Victor and failing with it. But I heard from so many people that Victor was smashing all these scrims. And he was so powerful because people were flex picking him everywhere. And this is just a specific example of this kind of phenomenon that's very recent and kind of pertinent to what's been happening. But it seems so funny to me because then the perception for the whole community is like, what are these idiots picking Victor for? Victor fails every single game. And all the teams are like, what the hell happened? In scrims, you were 20-0.
Yeah.
It's like Medios was saying.
I really... Oh, sorry.
Oh, Medios was saying last week about that. He felt like a lot of top laners in scrims just get bored playing against it because they have to play so safe and it's so frustrating. You're always getting poked. You have to give up CS. You can't challenge. But on stage, people, okay, they're playing Sion. Well, I'm down 15 CS. Who cares?
All right, so what I think is that effect, like, you know how Victor smashes scrims, like Jace smashes scrims. So like the top laner that has to play against those champions, he intentionally ints. So he can tell his team, like, yo, these champions are OP, man. Victor and Jace, they're so OP. You gotta let me play them. So they like intentionally int against those champions so they can play those champions.
So they get to play the fun ones.
Yeah, you get to play the fun ones.
Do you think scrim stuff is a problem then? That teams, if teams aren't taking them seriously enough? Or...
Yeah, I think it's a huge problem. Like even for us, like we're trying to imitate in a way. Like our practice is like completely different from LCS. Like the way we play on stage is just like, wow, we never practice like any of this in our practice, and we're just going onto LCS and like doing this for like potentially like the first time, and that's like a really big issue for like scrims and stage.
Is that a coaching thing or?
I think it's a coaching thing. It's a team thing. It's like a lot of things. I think there's no way to like put it on like one thing. And yeah, I do think like we're coaching in a way where we're trying to figure out like how we're gonna make our practice like really close to stage. And I think if we can figure it out this week, we'll have a great week. But it's still a work in progress.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that it kind of speaks to a bigger issue than with the region, because it's, you know, even if your team is going to take scrims incredibly seriously, if your opponents are not, you're still getting kind of invalid information, right? You know, one of the things that from my days, you know, doing WoW Pro stuff, like, there was very few teams that we would want to practice against, because if you practice against a team that was messing around or a team that wasn't very good, sometimes you would be taught the wrong strategies, right? You could be taught that a Victor is super good, but maybe Kobe's just running it down against me, and then I think Victor's really good and I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something where if the region as a whole wants to improve, and if we are trying to actually have it be more competitive consistently internationally, then that's something that day in, day out, people have to be taking it more seriously. Every team has to be taking it more seriously. And that's really draining. And that's what I get, like, for players. It is really, really draining to always be, you know, playing it slow, playing it serious. But I feel like unless all of the teams kind of change that mentality and are trying to play it like stage, it's hard for you guys to get real practice and actually, you know, consistently improve week to week.
Definitely can be the case. Since we're talking so much about practicing and you have so much time, you know, playing against all these other LCS teams, something we asked Medios and something I'm always super curious about is, for you personally, out of all the 80 carries that you play against in this league, what maybe is your top 1 or 2 that you go into the game and you're thinking, all right, lane phase is going to be tough? Like who's kind of gives you a little bit of extra nerves?
I mean, definitely a team like Doublelift and Core JJ. They're definitely like the ones that's like, if you play against them, you know their jungler is gonna be boss down. Like, it's
it's not
jungle
different.
The jungle different.
Okay.
But yeah, those players, they're very smart around like how they play the bot lane. They get good scenarios, and I think like a big point about bot lane right now is like a lot about knowledge, about like recall timers, about how you can play the waves, and everything like that matters in bot lane. It's all about the details when you're playing bot lane, I think.
Is there any bottom lane you think is maybe underrated?
Underrated? I mean, I don't think there's any bot lanes that are like extremely getting flamed right now, right?
That's true.
I actually haven't seen any bot lanes getting flamed lately.
I feel like Olay was getting flamed. Like they were doing poorly.
I guess it was just Olay, but it's not like no one's like flaming Deathly too though. It's just like Olay.
You could probably find someone who's flaming everyone. To be honest.
Yeah, I feel like maybe Arrow a little bit when he just came back.
I don't think there's like anyone like flaming a lot of bot lanes, but let's see who's underrated that I can think is underrated.
What about you, Isaiah? What do you think? Is there anybody that you feel
is a little
putting up the numbers, putting in the hard work?
I always think Apollo and Hakuo are a little bit underrated because I think that
Apollo and Hakuo has always been like they've been doing solid for like a while now.
I think everybody's has like caught up to that page now though.
I still feel like I see a lot of comments about how they're garbage and this and that, and they're not the absolute best bot lane in the league certainly, but they have actually I think done a lot of work for their team, and they've I think actually been having kind of a bigger impact sometimes than some of the bigger stars on their team who aren't necessarily stepping in.
I remember the one game Hakuo Thresh again, surprise or whatever. He hooked. Rengar, he hooked Rengar 3 times in one fight. It was Dardoch.
Oh yeah.
And then after that, everyone was like, "Oh my God, this Rengar pick," because he got some kills early, but then he was made to be useless. I think Hakuo is still like, and people definitely give Hakuo credit for playmaking, especially on Thresh. But yeah, I think he definitely still has it.
So what's your bot lane rankings? Give us your top 3 then.
Bot lane rankings.
Give us your top 3.
Hit me a hard one.
Well, Doublelift and Core JJ was his first answer. So we can put that in for him.
Okay. Sneaky and Zeyzal, I think, are really good too. Like they just play really well as a bot duo together. They're really smart.
Yeah.
And do you think Sneaky is underrated then? Because as much as...
Is he underrated? I mean everyone thinks he's good.
I feel like during Worlds, everyone talks about how good Sneaky is. He's very popular.
No,
people always meme his lane phases though, right? And I still think that there's some of that is around. Yeah.
I think Sneaky's a good player still.
Yeah.
Even after all this time.
Yeah.
After all this time.
After all this time.
Who would be your third then?
Excluding us, right?
Yeah.
I think you should put yourself in there. You guys have done.
We're doing well, but we make like a lot of like we still have like a lot of weaknesses as a bot lane. Like we're good at some things, but I do think there's a ton of things we can still get better at. And if we can figure that out, then who knows? Like maybe we can be the best bot lane. Like,
I like this, still got it term because there's a lot of older players in our league, and recently people have been questioning guys like Afromu and Huni, where Huni came in and Huni has always been so incredibly good on stage. For a while, he's made a significant amount of mistakes, and then Afromu last weekend made people were flaming him for dying on Braum, teleporting back, dying again. Those two guys specifically, I'm super curious. Are they still putting up in scrims? Like, do they still have it? This might be a new section we can
still have it.
Do they still have it?
They got it.
Huni and Afromu.
It's really hard to say. I mean, the term of that is like we can always use this excuse right now, but it's really honestly just like early spring. Like a lot of these players, they come out with like a long off season. When you take like such a long off season, you can get like pretty rusty, and sometimes you don't even find your stride until like week 5, week 6. So like maybe we'll wait till week 5, week 6, and I'll talk to you guys again.
Okay. It's tough because Huni, it's been a while for, right? Like I think most people are looking at the last time he was really being dominant as spring last year. In summer and Rift Rivals, people were really disappointed. He was getting slammed by Wonder, and a lot of those matchups didn't really work out as well for him. So I'm kind of sad seeing Huni not be as dominant as he has been before, because he had been so good in EU and then in A and then in Korea, and now it feels like there has been a stretch of not Huni dominating essentially.
That's
right?
true. Huni's always dominated everywhere he was went. When he went to EU, he's the best holder. When he first came to NA, he was a beast. He went to the World Finals with SKT.
Yep. Yeah.
And then he's on Echo Fox.
Yeah. there you go. What an ending to the story.
That's unlucky.
How climactic.
All right, sweet. Well, we have a couple Twitter questions. Some people were hitting us up, asking some Twitter questions. We got a couple for you, Turtle, here specifically. This one's from the Friendly Healer at Therapist Gamer. He says, of everyone you played with, who do you miss having as a teammate the most?
Who do I miss having as a teammate? I think it must be just like the early TSM days. I really miss. I can name multiple people, right? It's not one.
Yeah.
I really liked Darius and Reginald. I really miss those guys as teammates because they were like kind of the first people I kind of met in that group.
You actually grew up with them.
Yeah, I kind of just grew up with them. And then Darius was always like a guy that would help me out a lot, and he would just have similar interests to me. And like, in terms of like food and shit, we just ate the same things all the time.
Do you still talk to those guys?
Yeah, I still talk to them. I still keep in touch with like all those guys, like whenever we're around the same area.
I've seen Darius in solo queue actually. Because he's still on my friends list, and he started playing a little bit again. I was super excited, because he quit for a long time.
Yeah. So yeah, he's still playing like here and there, and then I just really miss playing with Darius. We always roomed together when we went to places. So.
Your TSM answer actually reminds me of another question. It wasn't. It's not in our Twitter questions, and I forget who asked it to me. But someone asked me when they heard that you were coming on the show, if you hadn't lost to Samsung White that year, because the year when you guys went to Worlds and Loco Doco had set up, you guys were main scrim partners with Samsung White. This was Samsung's dominating year. And you had really instilled a lot of confidence in me because I was talking to all you guys, and you're all like, oh yeah, we're crushing everybody. If you hadn't lost to them, do you think that you could have taken it? Or at least gotten to like
I think we would have been like at least a quarterfinalist, like maybe a semifinalist. Like we were pretty good at the time. I think we were beating most of like the other teams. Like we weren't having trouble with any of the other teams except like Samsung White.
Yeah.
And we ended up being actually like the main scrim partners for Samsung White, but they were just way better than they were like miles ahead of every team there. And we definitely like learned a lot from them. I really wish we didn't choke in the group stage because we dropped a really important game that would have made us like the first seed in our group. And then we wouldn't have to play them. But
I just remember that year so clearly because
it was a good year, man.
Yeah, there were a couple of years where I got super hyped, and every single year something like that happened. And then people
get hyped every year, Kobe.
Yeah, but some years more than others. And then every year that I got really hyped, something like that would happen, and people would just like beat me down again and again, be like, you're dumb. Why did you have this?
It kind of happened again even this year with Team Liquid. Team Liquid was like pretty much our star child from NA. He's like, yo, let's go. You got perfect grades in your division. And
then the younger brother, we always
dropped out of college.
We should have been given more attention to the younger brother, Cloud9. That always
the younger brother, Cloud9, the younger brother came in clutch and
best performance yet.
Yeah, I'm really excited for what's gonna happen this year. I'm really looking forward to MSI. I really hope we can be the ones participating there because I'd love to go to those countries. And I'm just, we're gonna work hard, man. FlyQuest, NA, LCS first team right here.
Okay,
all right.
On the dive.
There you go.
We have another Twitter question for you, and we have to say one of Leah's because Leah sent in like 10 questions. But yeah, Leah B. Jackson says, has Jason ever owned a turtle? And if so, what was its name? What pet would he get now if he had time for it? So she sent in 10 questions. This is actually 2 questions in one tweet that we included as well.
Okay. I actually never owned a turtle, but my grandma had a turtle that I always like kind of visited, and then he was pretty boring, but I really liked him though. He was just always there, just doing boring stuff. I don't even know why I ended up with the name Wall Turtle. It must have been. It's a really long memory now because I just really liked animals, and I'm like, why don't I just be a turtle, like slow turtle, like a slow.
The juxtaposition of the wild and the turtle, maybe.
I think I remember now what happened because like I had like pretty fast mechanics in games, and then I would just like play opposite turtle, and people would think like I'm bad and slow and stuff like that. And then I would just show them like crazy mechanics on like a guy with the name Turtle. And I think that's like kind of why I named myself.
I like it. Yeah. Trying to deceive people.
Yeah, trying to deceive people.
All right, we got one more question here. This one says, What do you think is making the difference between Liquid finding success and Fnatic struggling? And both of them are kind of running more traditional ADC focused comps. What do you think it is?
I mean, in EU, they have like crazy good individual players, I think. Like G2 is pretty much just winning because they're just individually better than most of the players in that region. And I think for Liquid, they also have like really good individual players, but in the sense they're playing like more team oriented, I guess. And so they're using their like individual ability to get a stable early game and just scale to the mid game. And I think with Fnatic, they're just dropping the ball a lot when it comes to like keeping the game like pretty even, pretty stable. Like they're just losing out on some areas where they shouldn't be, I guess.
And for me, I mean, they lost their best player, right? They lost Caps, whereas TL was already back-to-back champions and upgraded. Kind of a lot of people feel like with Jensen and Core JJ, they brought in new people. Fnatic had to find a rookie. Nemesis, I think, is going to take some time to build up, right? This guy is brand new to the pro scene, and he's going to take some time. Any team loses a star like that. If TSM lost Bjergsen and had to grab some guy from solo queue, the team is going to look different, right? So I think it's just they're in very different situations. It's less about the style they're running and more about the situation that they're in without Caps. So I'm more interested in seeing how Fnatic looks, maybe end of spring or in summer once Nemesis has actually had more time, because by all accounts, he's a monster in scrims, he's a monster in solo queue, but it hasn't necessarily shown up yet on stage.
Yep. All right, I think that is going to do it for this episode of The Dive. We have a new homepage. The official homepage for The Dive now is going to be at riot.com/The Dive podcast. And we are going to have a new guest next week, so keep checking with me and Azael. I would like to thank Wild Turtle so much for joining us once again. If you are watching live, stick around for Classic Legends. And if you are going to tune into the LCS, you can catch Wild Turtle this weekend as FlyQuest take on 100 Thieves on Saturday and Clutch Gaming on Sunday. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. And check out the new official homepage.
Peace.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Classic Legends, where we open the LCS vault and revisit prominent games from North America's past. Our first game this week takes us back to 2013, the very first year of the NALCS, for the Week 3 showdown between Team Curse and Team Solo Mid. Team Curse had just signed the very first European player to join the NALCS, the all-star support from Moscow 5, Edward. But they were still struggling to find success. Meanwhile, TSM were tied for second place and looking to take MLG Anaheim by storm, with Xpecial taking away Edward's signature Thresh pick in Champion Select. Jat joined me on the call.
All right, everyone, welcome back to MLG Anaheim. We are into the game. It is quite late, coming on 10 o'clock, so I need you guys to pump up your favorite teams, pump up the rest of the crowds. If you are here to see Curse take this game over Team Solo Mid, let Curse hear you.
And Riv, I messed this one up last time, but if there's any TSM fans in the crowd as this is happening, let's hear you now.
And there were no wards destroyed even.
I didn't have to go,
All right, so locking down this, oh man, the chant to follow as well. I'll tell you what, it's soundproof. There's white noise in the booth. Oh my God, the hook on Edward. A lot of damage going out. The Spirit Fire completely separating the fight to start though.
And that was through the pink ward control the Curse immediately had in that brush. Then TSM went and took it back. You can tell there's still the TSM faithful pulling in for this one.
Oh yeah.
Knowing TSM still hasn't shown their dominance they showed in the spring split. Really need to come in here in the summer, specifically at MLG, and make this one count.
All right, we'll see what they can do. Pink ward to pink ward. The support wars are already starting in this matchup. 1 minute and 20 seconds in.
Well, there goes all their gold. That actually makes the ganking early game much more effective, and this probably helps St. Vicious more than it does the odd one. Over pink warding that brush, now that St. Vicious knows that they have control over that area in particular, means he has a lot more freedom level 1, and Jarvan is a better skirmisher and ganker than Nasus early on.
They still have that pink ward, but they really don't have too much control on the bottom side of their red, but no pressure there. They're going for the invade still.
And this is something that TSM has no knowledge on, and I don't think they're actually going to get caught out for any of this. This is a red steal that will only be countered if Odd One guesses to take Curse's red, but because they have no pink ward control in Curse's jungle, I don't think they're going to get any of that.
And we don't really talk.
Xpecial actually might get in trouble here because he's going to ward the blue.
Looks like he will get in. We don't really talk about it too much, but the entrance of everyone right there from Curse told Team Solo Mid, we just got our red taken.
And Xpecial is getting very bold right here. I don't think he knows St. Fish is in that brush. And
I don't think St. knows Xpecial was there.
Yeah, that was weird, to say the least, and he gets away with it. No harm done, everybody.
One of those whoa moments. Oh my gosh, Dyrus, Jackie not even trying to go in on this one. Dyrus down to half health. That level 2 could be quite painful. Everybody remember, hashtag Team Solo Mid, TSM rather, hashtag CRS. Vote on Twitter. Those hashtags will update in real time on the screen, so make sure you get behind your team. We see Curse putting down the AD carry and support in middle. The odd one here to protect Reggie.
Yeah, I'd expect actually this lane to be extremely aggressive at Reginald. This is something Curse has always done when they're against TSM, is they put 2 people in the lane against Reggie because they know better than anyone how to beat TSM. It's by shutting down Reginald, and most teams aren't able to do it. That's why TSM's so dominant.
Coming in around the backside, they do not have the wards they need. They saw him come in, go to the Baron. He walked right through Xpecial's wards, but they're really not taking any consideration into this. It's going to be some good damage. I don't know if it'll be a full kill, though.
and all these summoner spells are up. St. Vicious is being very patient here. He's actually giving the Odd One time to roam around.
Maybe
Odd One is so good at counter ganking, as we saw yesterday in their game against Dignitas, and they might try to bait them into something here.
Oh, he
nice
plays
play.
him back on the toss.
Beautiful timing, and they turn around.
Oh my gosh.
Once Saint got knocked out of that combo, he had no damage left. That's all Jarvan has. That's actually why TSM was so calm. Because X Special is like, Jarvan's gonna come. If he does, I got you. All he had to do was wait for the flag to go out, start the play, and there's no way that Saint would get there for the knockup. Brilliant play by X Special.
Baited and outsmarted. 4 minutes into this game, we're gonna be trying to get some wins and had to. The least in that top lane getting pressured. So we're going to have to consider that the AD carry support lane, as always, is going to try to draw that jungle pressure. We see the Odd One wasn't able to go up to the top lane, but the communication there for TSM is you don't have to. So we're seeing that pressure come in. We'll see who St. Vicious is drawn to next.
I actually think St. Vicious might be drawn towards mid lane, but this bottom lane is a less passive version of the 1v1 farm fest we generally see. Dyrus and Jackie may both be going for some kills here. I gotta say, the just Fairy Charm start by Nijaki is working out fairly well for him because he's harassed Dyrus completely down, despite Dyrus starting this game with a blue elixir.
Just trying to see these builds around. Nobody has even really gone back yet. They're still trying to fend off these lanes, get that second gank in, figure out what's happening. And the pressure is down from St. Vicious as well. There's no flash to continue his initiations. We see him just going to lane as well to soak up experience. He's got to get back. The Odd One 21-13, and he's also had lane presence, so he's quite a bit ahead.
Yeah, and Curse, even though they have the 200 gold lead, feel a little bit discombobulated right now as far as I can tell, because Saint had the one gank broken up top, went all the way bottom while the lane was already shoved up, not really able to make any plays and just had to go and recall back. Meanwhile, they've stopped pressuring Reginald in the mid lane, saying that wasn't working by sending Cop into the top lane, and they're just kind of letting TSM do their thing. But with all that being said, it's a accumulating minion kill advantage because they were winning the lanes.
A lot of people going to see the Odd One in the bottom lane now. How is this going to react for Curse? Voyboy trying to push up that bottom lane, or the middle lane, I should say. And it looks like they're actually going to match up the AD carry lanes now.
And this will be very interesting between Wild Turtle and Cop, because if X Special lands that one hook, it could very well create something. Since Cops went with Cleanse and Turtles went with Barrier, if they're just butting heads and trading damage, that might actually give Wild Turtle the edge despite being the higher utility champion, just based on that summoner spell choice.
Yeah, there's no exhaust in there to stop him down. Wild Turtle's going to be in that fight instantly. Playing safe up top. X Special is just really coordinating this lane. We got to say, the support wins the lane more often than the AD carry just right-clicking. He is the one out-zoning. He is the one positioning so the CS can be had. And we're seeing, you know, Edward putting himself out front here. No real aggression towards the top lane, but the pink wards still helping them to realize, yeah, these are where the wards are. We can be safe in any situation.
Yeah, we spend so much time talking about the AD carry wards. By the way, we have a European and North American all-star support players laning against each other right now, and basically just battling with wards, because neither of those guys have put up big items thus far.
So we got the Doran's Ring coming out for Voyboy as he grabbed it before, just continuously knowing he was going to be battered in that lane, so he wants to be able to get his farm down, as well as keep a little bit of HP from that. Both lanes, all the lanes, I should say, very slow right now. Neither team is trying to really put their foot across the line. They want somebody else to make the mistake first.
Not at all, and I feel like Odd One is really just trying to hit level 6 and then go and take some objective control, because the ganks that St. Vicious has put off early in this game, trying to create that early game pressure that was so good when Curse was winning, it's been very ineffectual. TSM's been playing quite defensively in the lanes as well, which is, I think, what's giving them that little 400 gold lead until this aggressive move.
The flash! They're going to keep going in. The exhaust you talked about. Cop very hurt, but it looks like he's made it out. The exhaust actually used in that engage as well.
That was a lot burned by TSM, but it's probably worth it because now it's their action time. They recognize St. Vicious is nowhere close, and they're going to get as much damage onto this turret as possible while the wounded Cop watches.
It's more of a frontal attack, but we talked about it earlier. This is what Team Solo Mid did before. They hug you around your turret, but Cop and Edward actually making this a little bit harder. It looks like Wild Turtle can still grab it.
And they're trying to hold this because they have St. Vicious and Elise coming up from behind.
There they go, coming into the fight. Edward, can he get close enough? He's out of mana. Throws down the ignite. It looks like the first blood can come in.
Whoa.
The toss. Oh, he gets slayed out of it again. Espresso, why he's so good.
Well, that's why he's an all-star. because he can just shut down Jarvan. St. Vicious is so sad right now because he wants to gank that lane over and over, but Xspecial's patience and timing is shutting it down. Look out.
Caliber net the Draven ultimate. They maybe actually, they did lose the turret. They don't have the minion wave. May have the minion wave coming up here. Xspecial, this is very scary. You got 3 in your face. Yeah, you might want to turn tail on this one. They're going to go for the turret.
Yeah, even though he could flay away St. Vicious at will, it's a little dangerous here as he's by himself. But Reginald is coming up from the back, full health and mana. They might try to get something here if he lands it.
Oh, he locks it on to Saint. The minions are there. He's got to, oh my God, he plays it again. Saint just got that flash back and he loses it.
Listen to the TSM fans roar here. To say it's standing room only right now would be an understatement because it is packed in here. That's an Xspecial TSM chant right there.
Yeah, absolutely. The all-star play is completely shining through right now. 3 out of 3 perfect plays for Xspecial, and this one escalated up to a kill.
That was the reverse one too, because it was
the fadeaway
on
that
his
Kobe
way
talks
out.
about.
On his way out, and then because all that
gosh.
happened, Odd1, with only the one early gank that he pushed top lane for the turret, is getting TSM another objective. This could not be a better start for TSM.
Nijaki trying to make some moves. He needs to get this kill back for the team. The one attack and the the shield, the scrap shield, too good, and the dragon goes to Odd1 at the same time.
That was so close. Xspecial, though, gets flayed into a spider. Saint, is he going to try again? He doesn't even want to go at him.
It's got to be just a thought in Saint's head. He's like, my flag toss is almost useless when Thresh is around now. If Xspecial missed, there may be an inkling that Saint can hit that. But right now, he's afraid to throw that.
You could tell he was scared of invading that one because they recognized from the last fight that most of the summoner spells on TSM were down. And Curse could have tried to go in on that, but they had been losing so many engagements prior, they were just scared of it.
The fans loving it right now. Reginald to pick up this blue buff. Not even a lot has happened in the lanes too much. It's been so crazy. The top lane saw a lot of action. The turret went down, and then it was just the Xspecial show for a second. And now we're back in 10 minutes. The lanes have even. The AD carry drops to the mid lane as we see the top turret go down. So TSM, 10 minutes in, starting to open up the map here. The dragon pressure has already been, or the dragon control already given to them. It's just working out so far.
And now it turns to mid lane control because that's what Wild Turtle and Xspecial are most focused on now. And likewise, you can see Curse is funneling up pretty much their entire team to that point because since TSM's already taken 2 of the big objectives, when watching these games with the pressure teams that have been dominating kind of the world, it's the third one that really breaks a team. So Curse is really trying to prevent either another turret going down before Curse can get a turret or objective of their own. That's why they're putting so much presence and pressure on that middle lane.
Jackie looks like to go back. He just went back. He will find, go back for the second time, I guess. We'll see what items he gets. Just stacking up the tiers. Stays, actually. They're going to try to get something down to the bottom lane. Edward just on the backside. He does have the ignite. He does have the flash to start this. What are you doing, Reggie? You're going to get, oh, wow. I don't think he realized that ignite was going to be coming.
And that's why Edward brings ignite on Sona for the surprise factor. Now Curse is going to try to get that big objective for themselves as they're most likely losing mid.
That's a huge opening of the map as well. Both buffs get a little bit easier, and Curse loses out on the bottom, so it's been a dragon, the top turret, now the mid turret. Curse has yet to answer.
That is a fair bit of gold that's starting to stack up. Getting the kill on Reginald was very good, though, because they're going to shut him down his farming a little bit. But getting the kill onto Edward was unfortunate, because Reginald was being so aggressive onto Nijaki that Edward couldn't wait to let the kill secure go to Jackie. He had to make sure he killed Reginald, otherwise Jackie was going to die.
The ignite will bittersweet help. It looks like they get a good clear on this wave. Not too much damage going to be coming into this turret. All they do have the siege. That's going to help to about half health, but here comes St. Vicious. Again on the backside, we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're able to get many mitts into TSM. TSM's being very mobile right now. Odd1 is honestly farming a lot for a Nasus jungle, which is good for them since he's mainly just going and trying to help with the map pressure. It's making up a bit because Nijaki versus Dyrus, that lane wasn't good for Dyrus. Jackie was actually doing a tremendous job 1v1. St. Vicious actually gets in on Xspecial, but can it get turned around?
Look at the box! The box slow! The damage! Oh, the ultimate there, not for Turtle. It looks like it was up. It is, and mana's not there though.
Yeah, he used so much mana trying to escape there. You could tell TSM was a little apprehensive about going in on that one because St. Vicious had went in with so much purpose. that once he got pulled back, they're just like, wait a minute, do we really want to go in on this? Things have been going so well for TSM, they didn't want to risk it.
It's hard to make that decision mid-stride as well. Everything looks so good. The toss, we have a kill, let's do it. Even in the tri-bush, though, there's so many just cuts on that fog of war. It's a very dangerous spot to engage. So like you said, smart move by Team Solo Mid there. 1-1 and only 3,000 gold back for all the action that we've seen. It's still a very close game. The discrepancy is about 10 CS to the lanes or 3 CS between some of them. So super close. The biggest one, like you said, Odd1 just farming his face off in the jungle.
And for Curse to get back in this game, they really have to start getting some turrets back so they can open up the map instead of getting constrained to their own lane. Actually, Reginald can probably duel Voyboy here.
Oh my gosh, Voyboy goes strong. The frenzy goes on. The Ignite's there. Can he get back into the... Oh, the repel was there. The execute goes down.
I thought with the way Reggie was waiting in that brush, he was ready to fight. But man, we always underestimate the burst of Elise, especially at level 9, when that Q is maxed for both the ranged and the bite. And that's an opening that Curse needs to take to get some turrets, because every time Curse has tried to make a play on TSM, TSM's been taking a turret back.
Curse now able to grab this. They have to move. They have to activate something after those kills. They've gotten kills bottom lane. They weren't able to push the turret. That kill top lane, not able to push the turret. Coming in back onto this, find the other one from the backside. St. Vicious trying to walk out, but he comes back in to help Jackie. Jackie taking quite a bit of damage. Dyrus looks to make it out of this one safe.
Thresh.
With the scrap shield. The Thresh Express, the save, the Wild Turtle. Shells on a kill.
2-0 again for TSM, pulling themselves ahead in the kills.
Oh!
Almost gets him. It's really funny. I feel like Cobb uses that Draven ult like an Ezreal ult. Why is he not just playing Ezreal? Because that would have killed him.
It absolutely would have killed him, giving him a second to walk away. Dyrus definitely walking away with his teeth grit on that one.
This is huge for TSM.
Turret may go down in mid. They are repelling to the outside. It's going to be a bit. Oh, Wild Turtle.
Nice.
The Ignite's there again for Edward. He does have, no, Repel's still waiting on a few seconds, and he's not going to go in. No more vision past that mid.
And that's flash ult down for Edward. It looked like a good opportunity, but this is Curse scrambling to keep up with TSM. Since they lost the previous fight, they needed to make a play just to save a turret. And since they had to expend the flash ult from Edward's Sona right there, that means they do not have it for future objectives like this dragon that just spawned.
You see with the Odd1, he is moving down towards the bottom lane. We have to remember the Odd1 soloed that by himself as Jackie was trying to get onto that bottom lane where Dyrus was. Dyrus was able to make it out alive in that engagement too. So the distraction game that Team Solo Mid has been playing is really coming out on top as well. 16 minutes in, they have found a way to break the kill score to 3-2 instead of that even, and they're still up 3,000 gold. That hasn't been moving too much. The deficit is the same.
And it's an absolute breaking point for Curse right now because it's 3 turrets to 0. So that's what happens when you're out 3 turrets. Since your lanes have to be so much safer since they need the turrets to defend themselves, there's no way Curse can really get up to that dragon unless they all committed as 5. But since TSM had been shoving up the lanes, Curse was back farming away with their lane, so that was just another thing that TSM was able to get.
This reminds me of very, very old TSM, where they hold their turrets all the way to the outer for like 30 minutes and just modify their strat slightly every time they needed to. Turrets all still stand in each lane, or except for the top lane, I should say. And the pressure that they're putting on everyone else has not even allowed them to group as 5 because they're spread out across the map.
And TSM's just walking through since they got that turret low before. They know Jackie. Jackie's been the most successful player on Curse this entire game. He's off split pushing. Curse is trying a triple push, and TSM is just going for an inhibitor turret.
Both are backing 8 seconds before we get Voyboy and Cobb in this fight. I should say, Jace, they go in strong. Zay comes back. We're going to see Dyrus in. The repel goes off, and they're going to try to get this. Wild Turtle puts himself right into the fight onto Edward, making sure that support cannot be there. The Cobb finally getting an ultimate kill, and it looks like the Owl makes it out alive. Dyrus to turn back around, and it looks like they may be able to trade this. Team Solo Mid didn't expect the back to happen that fast.
Cobb gets a triple kill, and Saint continues to try and chase.
Oh my god, he almost gets the kill on Saint, but the shield was enough.
That was such an awkward fight, and that was the breaking point for TSM. They were biting off a little bit more than they could chew there, really trying to punish Curse for that move. They did get the inhibitor turret, but let's see how much Curse gets back from that. A quadra kill onto a Draven right now. Let's see if Cobb can make that count.
Absolutely ridiculous. Cobb has just put himself 5 minutes ahead of where he was, and he needed that absolutely. Like you said, the Dragon's going to Team Solo Mid just everywhere and anywhere. now 6-4. That was a 3-2 just a second ago.
Here's the craziest thing though, Riv. After that quadra kill from nothing, Cop still has 100 less gold than Wild Turtle, because Wild Turtle has 5 turrets instead of 2 and 2 dragons, plus just equal farm. But it's the gold that matters, right? So Wild Turtle's no weaker than Cop and will still be able to fight after him despite that near disastrous fight there for TSM.
So the communication almost kind of biting Curse again there. They were able to pull back. Last time it was, Voyboy on the Shen split push. Definitely more communication that we're seeing for them to stop that. They did lose the inhibitor turret, but they came back with a big fight that shows TSM they can't do that.
Yeah, that fight was the best thing that's happened to Curse all game. That was them getting pushed around for the first 17 minutes and finally being able to repel some kind of TSM push. But they've lost so much. By the time Curse was able to fight back, they have now such an uphill battle after getting that quadra kill.
That's only the first few rungs of the ladder for them. They are still climbing until they meet where TSM is scaled to in this game, just from being that ahead. But still about 23 CS coming in favor of the odd one in the jungle, but we haven't seen him be a gigantic impact in the fight yet. He's kind of been roaming around, like you said, more farming.
And it looks like TSM, instead of just farming, is going right back for inhibitor, because a 20-minute inhibitor really constrains Curse to their base. Since it's exposed, TSM's going in again. They have all of their ultimates up. Special's coming up in a few seconds, and they probably want to fight here, or they want Curse to go in on them.
So they won't have Voyboy. It could be the odd one stopping him in the bottom lane. He does stop Voyboy, so Elise will not be here for the fight. This is a little different now for the 4-on-4. But oh no, the odd one doesn't like the situation. He starts to run. I guess dogs don't like spiders.
Yeah, if Curse can hold off this inhibitor, they're going to go, but this doesn't look like a good fight.
Edward crescendos and plays himself to death. It looks like they're going to try to get Reginald. The Ignite goes down from Edward. They are blowing a lot here for not getting the too many kills. Finally, Dyrus falling down. Draven coming up with a kill as well onto him. Wow, Cop coming up big with a double from Reginald. Turns it back around.
Crazy battle here, 3 for 2, and TSM still sticking around with Reggie and Special while Voyboy fights Odd One.
This is this in-your-face strategy. Odd One, like you said, still going back. An inhibitor has gone down now. That 20-minute inhibitor has happened for Team Solo Mid.
And this has been a very action-filled game, Riv, because 8 kills to 7, even though TSM has killed 5 structures plus the inhibitor. Really, TSM's dictating the Curse and now making Curse react to exactly what they're doing. As long as TSM can shut down Cop and not let him run through their team, they're looking in a good position, but all the kills they're giving back with these shenanigans is leaving the door open for Curse.
31,000, let's say 32,000 right now. 5 turrets to 2. But up in kills. Curse has found their way into the fighting phase. The thing they wanted, this team diving into the fray and getting all of that impact damage right off the bat, and having people like Jackie, having people like Cop to continue attack with that damage. Voyboy not looking too good. He doesn't have movement. The only movement right now is TSM down to Voyboy. It's going to be the Wither coming out soon. Locks him down. He doesn't have anything to jump to. A good amount of damage. What is Curse going to do off of this, though?
Yeah, Curse is actually going to try to run for a Baron. I think TSM will recognize this. How quickly can Curse get this Baron down? Because TSM now has a marathon to get back up there. Wild Turtle was still in base.
I think it's safe to say TSM is getting the "you have pinged too much" message on their screen, and they are heading towards the Baron pit. Walking right through the minions in mid. These guys drop the Baron and exit stage left.
Voyboy with the sneak carry right there, creating so much annoyance in the bottom lane. TSM just wanted to stomp out the spider, but they forgot about the giant snake on the other side of the map, and that's what's costing them right here. That Baron buff will stall TSM out after they'd gotten the inhibitor and give Curse a chance to farm up to get more into their fighting phase.
And that Baron puts Cop 600 gold ahead of Wild Turtle now, so that balancing act that's been going back and forth just got one, and the seesaw just broke itself.
Here's another thing, though. Cop has put that gold into a chain vest against Dyrus and Reginald, who are 2 DPSing magic damage champions. So he's probably going to be going for that Guardian Angel on Draven, so he doesn't have to worry about his positioning yet. But he's foregoing a fair bit of damage in that, and it's going to mean the rest of Curse, I guess like usual, will have to be dealing most of the damage, since Cop is used to playing the supportive AD carries.
Dragon, once again, just going over to Team Solo Mid, something that, you know, in Season 2, they would have said, this is something that can cost us kills, we'll let it go and get the later ones. But now it's something they dictate in the game, they pressure and have for themselves. So far, all of those going down to them. It's going to put the gold lead 3,000 in their favor, still 5-2 in turrets. So everything has been skirmishes after the turret's gone down.
It's the type of game that TSM is playing. It's the skirmish. It's a skirmish match right here because St. Fish has been running around. Odd One's been trying to keep the lanes pushed, and since Curse is always scrambling to either save a turret, react to a dragon, run and face off Baron, you're not seeing the 5v5 brawls that we used to become accustomed to. There wasn't a dragon fight in this game, and we're 23 minutes in. There may never be a dragon fight because that's just the way the game's been going.
And as close as this game looks, you look at Baron on Curse right now. They're using it to farm. They know they can't do much. It's going to be an uphill battle, as we said before, even with Baron on. They're fearful of TSM.
I mean, remember, Saint can't cleanly initiate onto X Special if he's going for that flag toss.
The back of his mind.
There's the fear, just the start of it. Voyboy could get in. It's Saint and Voyboy traditionally, when Curse does well, that just go in together, and Jackie's kind of a midliner, which is perfect for Jace. I just wonder if they're going to stop TSM from pushing down here, because it's a 5-man push that TSM's aggressing onto Curse, despite Curse's Baron, and Curse really has no answer right now.
Shock Blast not doing too much damage, and he's also level 15, the highest in the game right now to anybody, 14 on Reginald. Jackie's really not putting out too much of that forceful damage that you'd see from Shock Blast at this point.
Not really. It's because he's went for a Hex Drinker and also Mercury Treads.
Yep.
He was worried about dueling Dyrus and also the double AP comp from Reggie in this game. The more aggressive Jace build would obviously be like cooldown boots and no Hex Drinker, just straight to either a Brutalizer or a Last Whisper, and then you're just popping people. But Jackie's not at that point yet, so it's going to take a little bit more time. I don't know how that's going to work out, though, since Cobb will kind of hit his tipping point on Draven. Not the best late game carry when compared to a Caitlyn.
Yeah, once Jackie gets to that damage, it's poke right now, so I guess it's all right. Or it's not the poke they're looking for, I should say, because they don't have that team to be like, oh yeah, we'll poke with you. So his damage isn't huge at the moment. It's going to help. Obviously, damage is good, chat. But right now, they're just slow going this until they get the right one.
The Mirror Mana transform is obviously pretty big, but that happened several minutes ago for Jackie. That's generally the power spike you see on a Jace, and it would have been great if Curse could force something within this Baron. They have about 30 seconds left, and they might try to force something now or hereabouts, but they're just not grouped up because there's so many open spots in Curse's defense right here. The TSM's moving around, and Curse is struggling to just kind of keep them all held up.
Looks like they're sitting just about 20 more seconds on that Baron, so they're not going to get too much more out of it. It has kept them safe and kept TSM off their back, so TSM's kind of walking into not a blind fight, but they're not really going to understand the damage right away. Dyrus getting hit up there. He doesn't realize it's Reggie on the other side. The repel is there. Straight, oh, the ignite was on. Takes it down.
That wasn't a good thing there for Curse. Reggie roamed down because Curse doesn't have good presence on the map. They had wards in the jungle, but it didn't alert Voyboy where Reginald was going to be coming from. Now the inhibitors respawn, but it is a 4v5, and I don't know if they can hold this one since their Baron is all gone.
Quite low timers. We see Voyboy picking up the home guard boots, the only one on the team, so he's definitely thrown that on, making sure he can assist, but they're going to be out of the base before that happens.
And that just means Curse is stuck in their base for even longer. Now TSM's running the roundabout to try and get the next outer turret down. This would be number 7 for them, extending their lead. Really, TSM did a great job of stalling through the Baron that they'd given up there. They made the mistake, and they made sure they didn't follow it up with more mistakes.
It's always an easy thing to do and engage in a fight when you think they have the upper hand. Baron is not one of those things you want to do that to. So with Team Solo Mid in that mentality of really dictating the game, back to that strategy of let's have someone make a mistake and tweak our strategy to that. 9-8, they pulled the kill score back into their favor, but that has been only inching up so slowly. I don't think we've had a kill for quite a while until that Voyboy there.
No, it's been very slow since the Baron had been taken, because that's generally what happens in these games where TSM made the big mistake. And so often, like we were saying, you have kind of a want to just make up for that mistake right away. But that's the worst time to try to make up for it after you've given the team Baron. And that's why the game is slowed down, because Curse wasn't in a position after the Baron to initiate onto really X Special's Thresh. And then TSM maneuvered around the map and actually gained advantage while Curse had the Baron, which was very well done.
So a big portion of what's going to help St. Vicious and team here, that Bulwark being finished for this double AP squadron coming out of Team Solo Mid, they're really going to help Cop stay in that fight longer with that GA. Continues to build. It looks like he's putting in that attack speed as well for a little bit of sustain in the fight now, GA later. But you're right, they need to be able to get that in there. And once Saint gets the Bulwark, I think they'll be able to actually fight a little more.
And it looks like Curse is really looking aggressive since they know there's no wild turtle here. I've got to think about that cop build a little bit, because it's almost like he switched ideas midstream. He was going for a GA, then either someone told Cop to build a GA and he's like, screw that, I'm going for a Phantom Dancer, or someone saw him starting to build a GA and Saint was like, no, build a Phantom Dancer. It was one of those two things, because you don't just build a Chain Vest and then a Zeal. You want to complete one of those items rather than just building components, because it's much less efficient to do it this way.
Looking down at that scoreboard, a 5-1-1. Cop is sitting on 2 completed items. With that 1-1-4 Wild Turtle sitting on 1,100 gold and 3, or his own 2 completed items, but the 2 max damage for the AD carry.
Yeah, and it's kind of on Curse to initiate this one, but they don't have the capability of diving onto TSM because they recognize the gold lead that they've accumulated and kind of how poor the team fighting has been for them when it's happened, or even the skirmishes that have happened. What Curse is relying on is they're hoping to outmaneuver TSM like they did at that Baron again and again.
And they have really put their mark on Dragon. This is another one for them coming into the game. That stamp is there, the timer again is there, and it hasn't even been warded for Curse. It's not something they've thought about.
They haven't been able to get out there. It's been too dangerous for them. Another play by Xpecial, and this could be the fight.
You are a classy gentleman, Xpecial, but it's gonna be Saint going in. The Cataclysm is down. That Aegis being on the team is helping so much, but it's gonna be Edward taking quite a bit of damage, going down. 40 seconds in the Death Chamber. They turn this one around onto Reginald. A shutdown coming in for Boy. Some real good gold there. Ace in the hole to the backside. You always thought a broom was a good thing to kill a spider, but so's a bullet.
And Odd One spent this whole time just chasing down the Odd One. He wants to finish this kill while the rest of TSM pushes mid.
Away, Odd One, you're being kited by a red buff. Stop this.
He's scared.
Stop this.
Can he get him?
Stop this. Stop this, Odd One. Don't do it. Okay, he's not going to do it.
Everybody calm down. TSM is winning the game right now. So they're going for the Nexus right here after the 4 kills.
Absolutely, they are in the base. Odd One is playing that Boy game in the top lane, but it's not Baron this time, it's the Nexus.
And there's Cop trying to defend. I don't think TSM can end. I wonder if Cop can get something here. Dodges that hook.
Getting that out. Cop looking for, nope, a bit more down. Oh, he goes for actually the throw burst. And the steroid, not enough.
Bleed?
Does he have the bleed? No, oh my gosh. Somebody get this guy a Band-Aid.
Oh man, after all the brilliant plays that Xpecial pulls off, he cannot mend that wound. And this could open a window, despite Curse getting destroyed so badly in that fight, to try another last-ditch effort. Maybe they can go for a Baron. It would be rather ill-advised, though, considering Xpecial is just a support here with no gold value. But Curse almost has to do this based on their position.
They're going down front. They're going right down the mid lane. But wait, whoa. You guys don't have a one on this?
Mixed calls by TSM. TSM ran halfway mid and then back.
Odd One sees it and they're like, hey guys, this is pretty big.
Here's the fight.
They're gonna dive in. The Cataclysm again under the back line. Saint gets bursted down very quick though. A good focus by TSM, but Cop is left in the back with Edward. They're shredding Team Solo mid.
And another outmaneuver there by Curse, because TSM had happy feet in the mid lane. They ran back and forth and didn't just rush for the Baron. If that was a clean 4v5 in the Baron pit, TSM would have rolled the floor with Curse, but Curse outmaneuvered him, turned around at the right moment, and got 3 kills after their base had been decimated.
We almost saw this coming once they got the magic resistance on the double AP team. It's always a lot harder. That front end burst doesn't do as much, and then you're waiting for cooldowns. The auto attack damage is not there for TSM. They have to get these guys down low before they do that again.
Yeah, Wild Turtle died so early on in that fight that he wasn't able to put out the sustained damage either. And here's round 2. This may be even more dangerous. It is, however, a lot of Curse, 4 members with no smite, and just Xpecial and Reginald trying to stop this one. That Baron's going down fast.
Ward after ward, Xpecial keeping him safe. Safe for the
going in.
They go, no, it goes to Boy. Gets the execute down on the Baron Nasher. The kill coming in out of Reginald. Curse is gonna play this one slow. They know they have the upper hand.
There was no risk of Saint Fish's getting smite stolen there because he wasn't even at Baron. Nope. So that's what the Curse got it, no problem. That's the second Baron of the game that Curse has been able to pick up here. And it just keeps them in it, barely. They've been getting crushed so much, but because they've snuck the Barons, they've had very good pushback team fights when TSM's really pushing hard, that they've just scraped their way to survival here and almost even the game if you look at the scoreboard.
Yeah, just that. It's 8-2 in turrets. How is there not more map pressure coming in from Team Solo mid? They're losing Barons. They've got every dragon. It's a little backwards.
Yeah, one of the craziest games of the season was last week's game between Cloud9 and COG, where COG had lost everything, but they kept getting dragons. This game is Curse losing everything, and then somehow they get Baron twice in 33 minutes. And now they kind of have to do this right now, since if Curse fights in their base, as soon as they lose a fight, the game is over. They have to turn something around. I don't think Curse can bank on getting a third Baron.
And if this fight went bad, it probably would be the end of the game, but it'd be a tough push. There aren't many minions for TSM, but they do have that tank. If Curse goes down, they got to take down as many members as possible. That's obligatory to happen, but it's crucial in this point because it could be the last fight, like you said.
And Curse is really going to be focusing hard on Wild Turtle. He's building the full offense, Caitlyn, as he usually does, and those shock blasts are hitting for full damage.
He did get his last Whisper in. Like we said, it was a little lackluster before, but everybody's ramped up on Curse. Only a few level 17s left on this one. Saint's 16 now, actually over the Odd One after these fights. Remember, Odd One has always been up in CS, but Saint's participation in the lanes, the experience he has grabbed throughout the taxing that he loves to do, is really putting this team on top, and the level comparison is almost losing these fights for them.
And we know how hard that Curse wants to dive through TSM, so the Odd One's going to be as big a wall as he can possibly be, but with these Baron buffs, Curse has got to get rid of some of these traps before they decide to go in. They really want to take down this turret, and they could fight whenever. Saint gets pulled, this is going to start it!
Eyes on Wild Turtle, he gets shots onto Saint. Saint goes out, dives to the equalizer. Wild trying to get himself in a good spot here. Shots over the wall. It's going to be Odd One trying to throw on the ulti and get the AoE damage in his area. Cop, oh block! Edward, very nice job there. And they are able to get out.
Still just a 1-for-1, and the Baron is still regenning Curse. Edward is low on mana, though, so he can't spam heal up with Sona. Everyone on TSM is getting some heals in the base, and they might look to repel this, but Curse really wants this turret.
There's so much to lose, but with Reginald down, it's such a chance that they have to take.
Looks like they're going to have to back away, though, just because of how healed TSM was and how low on mana, specifically Sona was. But that was a good sign for Curse. A strong push for them. They still have a minute left on this Baron, and they're going to try to pick up a few of TSM's buffs along the way.
Are they going to get Dragon?
The
Curse
first
gets
Dragon?
the first Dragon of the game. 35 minutes in. Team Solo Mid not able to answer.
Well, this game just got real interesting.
Just a tad.
Just a little. You get the best games this weekend. 8 turrets to 4. That turret just now makes the gold 500 gold different. And considering how one-sided this seemed to be for TSM early, Curse has come storming back. There was the game yesterday, Riv, with Curse and Velocity, where Curse seemed to have it in the bag. They lost a few fights near Velocity's inhibitors, and then slowly but surely Velocity came and rolled it back. Curse is trying to do the same to TSM right now.
This is one of the most dangerous points in the game. That last fight is a rush down middle. It doesn't matter that there's 4 turrets that Curse has grabbed. It matters about that highway they're about to run down to get home at TSM's Nexus. So these fights, absolutely going to tell the story of the game once it happens.
And there's a double Guardian Angel on Curse right now. It's very debatable whether that item is still usable sometimes, because it used to be the best item for late game. It was substantially hurt in Season 3, and it will give them the revives, but they don't have the damage output that TSM's going to have. So if we compare a Cop to a Wild Turtle right now, Turtle's going to be doing more damage, but Cop may come back at the end of the fight. The question is, will it matter when we see the big clash, which I feel like at 36 minutes, we're about to.
That 36-minute clash has the 80 carries just about equaling gold. They are going to be spitting out so much damage. Like I said, kind of focused on them the last fight. We may do it again depending on how the situation really goes. But it is going to be a hard fight to focus on. There's going to be a lot of jumping around, the repelling, the gap closing, and it's going to be big. Nijaki, like you said, that Guardians and Cop, so the positioning of the team can be a little bit more chaotic for Curse now.
Yeah, they can try to do whatever they want, but in that last push, they never got the inhibitor turret down, so diving through is incredibly dangerous for them, specifically because they want Saint to do it, and Saint is getting blown up in some of these fights.
Looking to make a move. They wanted to start that fight, but walk right over that ward and Hatchet special just on the outside. Looks like he kind of wants to squeak his way in and get another one down, but they are just blocking that back end. It's this turret that's down behind you. You can almost get flanked.
And Turtle is getting crushed down by Nijaki's Shock Blast. It's continually making him having to go back to base, and Curse is chipping back at TSM with the long-range poke from Nijaki.
Consistent aggression now coming from Curse. They found a way around Team Solo Mid, and really Team Solo Mid was going very Cloud9-esque in the beginning, just in your face, fighting all the time. That's what they love to do, and it seems like once Curse won that fight right in front of the base, they took out a few, and then Voyboy tricked them in the bottom lane. They said, yeah, we're completely going to outplay them on this.
And what happens when you slow that strategy down? Because what TSM was able to accomplish was very strong early game team fighting with Reginald and Dyrus, and the Odd One just kind of keeping pressure up to create that. But that team composition that TSM has right now doesn't have very, like, the strongest of initiations or tower diving.
Right.
So for them to actually try and end the game, now that the team fighting is close, and Curse has managed to catch back up on gold, thanks in small part to the 2 Barons they were able to sneak, makes it very difficult for TSM to end the game now, since their initiation is not reliable.
Equalizer is pretty much an open book for an initiation. You can just walk out of it if you want. Everything, it comes down to that having to be perfect for the team solo mid initiation, and that's really a niche you don't want to be in 40 minutes into the game. They are trying to activate on this one. The net goes down, he gets prisoned up. They may just want to, why did they stay? It's special, going down after Reginald gets hit up to the skies, and welcome to the slam and jam. It's gonna be Void Boy and his team trying to pick up more kills. The double kill for Cop, and the run through the base.
And these are really long death timers right now, Riv. Curse has everybody alive right now, and a minion wave coming up. They might look to try to end this game against only Dyrus and Wild Turtle.
They have great damage for taking down turrets with the squad they have up. 2 are down, 31 seconds on the shortest timer, and that's special. Not exactly the best siege stopper. It looks like they're gonna be going for this turret. The first Nexus to go down, and the second one will fall.
Turtle goes down!
Oh my god, Turtle didn't even last 2 abilities. They continue on to the Nexus turret. Curse is definitely turning around their momentum this season.
Not only did they turn around this game, but that comeback could turn around their entire season.
An absolutely amazing.
Now, Team Curse is no longer in the LCS, but their legacy lives on in Team Liquid after the 2 organizations merged in 2015. And while this game returns to the LCS Vault, be sure to catch the continuation of this long-standing battle as Team Liquid goes up against TSM this Sunday. But don't worry, you won't need to wait until the weekend for more league action. We've got you covered with another game of Classic Legends coming up right after the break. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Classic Legends. Our next game comes from the recent past, with Phoenix 1 versus Cloud9 in Week 5 of the 2017 NALCS Spring Split. Phoenix 1 started the Spring Split much improved after revamping their roster with Korean imports Ryu and Arrow, but could only reach 4th place by the end of Week 4. Meanwhile, Cloud9 was riding high off an 8-0 start to the split, despite losing longtime jungler Meteos in the offseason. But Meteos would find his way back to the stage for this match, filling in as Phoenix 1's jungler, facing off against his former team in the birth of Darth Meteos. Zyrene joined me on the call.
C9, pretty good champion select for themselves. Looks like it may go a little bit better in the early game. Well, it's also up to them. If they keep the kills away from Zig in that top side.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't know how great this actually is against the Fiora, because your bear trap on a rope is an incredibly telegraphed CC that Fiora can riposte on demand. And we'll see. Calm down, Scarl.
I miss this. Top laners used to do this all the time. And they just auto-tag each other once, but it was more the Nautilus Maokai.
Or when the Trundle spams dance.
Yep. Best dance, one of the best in the game. All right, so Zig and Ray have a quick conversation top side. Looks like Zig will kind of just push him down and make sure he is helping Contracts to say top side start. We know about that.
Yep, they're actually checking the Raptors. There's a ward at Cloud9's Raptors, so the Rengar is not going to start there. They know that Contracts is most likely starting on top side. Interested in what position this will put him later on, because Meteos is on the bottom side starting blue, and then he will make his way towards the top side of the map, which has that snowball lane where Contracts, he might get put on the opposite side at level 3.
Little push in the bot side. Doesn't look like Ray goes too hard early. Wants a nice, easy game for himself. We'll see a lot of action up there, though, between Zig and Ray, I bet. As Meteos starts his jungle on the Olaf. Saw him push back quite far here, so we'll see if he can make an impact. We do see, overall, we mentioned it, but P1 lacking on the CC basically everywhere.
Yeah, not a lot of lockdown here. They do have the LeBlanc, though, and they do have the Gled. All right. This ain't his first rodeo. Going off to the side, making sure that it doesn't hit him. Actually, gets the better of that trade.
As he said, it could be good.
Yeah, it could be good. You just got to be good. I think that's kind of true for most things in League of Legends. It could be good. You just got to be good.
Well, you go to ask that to most people. Unless it's a counter, they're like, yeah, skill matchup. Yeah. You ask any pro. Okay.
Am I supposed to win this matchup? Nah, get good.
Oh, the feels. I know that.
So you can see here, Contracts actually went from his red buff to Raptors, and now he's going around topside. They don't expect him here. This is a weird route for Rengar to take.
Oh, nom. Ryu takes the distortion right back into first blood.
Yeah, because they expected him to be on bottom side of the map now. Yeah. That is such a weird place for you to come from at that time when they knew you started topside.
See, bear trap on a rope. Easily hit away by Ray each time. Good shield from Smoothie, mantra'd up to give the team speed and get a few more shots in. Sneaky connects on Adrian, and their exhaust there down in the bot lane. Full summoners for C9, but not a lot of mana on Sneaky for the catches.
Yeah, not a lot of mana left. Jins actually go out very quickly. That's why Essence Reaver was such a common build on him before. But now people are just saying, all right, we'll push him out, use all the mana early, and then eventually we'll get to the point where fake the lag. That's what you have to do. And here comes Contracts looking for Zig.
Bye, Scarl. Here goes Zig. Bola just misses. He pulls top. Yep, it's going to be the hit in from Contracts. He knew what he was doing. Comes out with a kill and gives Ray the assist.
Yeah, no flash from Zig there either. And this is a huge snowball lane. If you lose pressure in it like that, then that's pretty much the match right there in that top lane. That could be huge.
Double Dorans for Zig. He did kind of play that in, I'm going to take a bit of damage. Maybe you'll take some from the minion wave type of situation. He found himself in a bad spot with Contracts on the wing. Teleport back to the top side, but right in his face, once again, is Ray.
A little mistiming there on the bear trap on a rope. Comes back with a Doran's for both of them, but Boots advantage for Ray. And that's that assist right there.
Tier picked up for Jensen and Arrow as he makes his way back out of base. Pings are on the bot side. You do see the Arrow from Contracts, I believe, maybe going for somewhat of a lane gank here. Doesn't have ult, but knows they are disjointed on their back timing. So if they can find Adrian alone, a possible kill. Easy farming for Ryu in the mid lane, 32-24. It doesn't look like things are going to be changing much here. Have not seen Meteos or Contracts coming in just yet.
Yep. And also blowing up Jensen is going to be really hard. They already got the first kill onto Ryu. But Jensen also has a heal. So he'll have extra movement speed. He'll have an extra way to sustain himself. And oh man, this wave top, that's a big wave. That's one of those big ones.
Caster's right onto Ray as he has to pull back. Doesn't want him to get in full though.
Well,
so
you
he
lose
tries
that
to
trade,
clear
buddy.
some wave. Ooh. Thought the minion wave was gone enough. Ryu goes in for an attack and
might be enough.
Contracts comes in. Gets the flash out of Ryu.
Yep. You keep your leap distance for about a half second when you leave the brush. So Contracts is able to actually close that distance still. Oh, they saw him.
Yep. He's got a little bit of help from Zig as well. Ray has to be calling that nobody's in the top lane, so be careful if you're going to try and fight him.
Yeah, but Jensen would collapse a little bit faster, and it has level 6 and the ultimate.
Remember, Ryu splashes down as he pulls.
All right.
Scary here.
Jungle fight. Oh!
Ooh, didn't expect that last hit to come back. Meteos hoping the passive would play in his favor. And a good hit by Contracts as they meet one-on-one.
Yeah, not sure what Meteos was expecting there either, because it's a Rengar with 2 kills. Like, 2 kills should be an indicator. You don't want to mess with that guy.
And this was one of the trades, right? They said, all right, you know, you get the Jhin, and then you get the Rengar. We'll take the LeBlanc. And that Rengar seems to be backfiring. Firing off for Cloud9, that is 306 minutes in. Skull returns to help Zig back in the top lane.
He did it. He actually got a remount. That's so hard to do sometimes. Like, you're sitting there, you get 20 for hitting a champion, and then you get, like, very little, I think 5 for killing a minion. So it took him forever. He had the W on, and that's usually how people will do it, is if they have a W up, which you're lucky enough to have it up, it'll be 4 attacks very quickly. You get it on the enemy top lane, that's 80 right there. You just need another one in there. So he actually got some really good Qs with the shotgun, and then he also was able to get some minion kills and some hits onto him.
Oh.
Ah.
Whoa, and he gets stuck up in the minion, so he's got some time to
use
play.
ulti.
Nicely done as he rolls into Contracts, possibly giving himself enough room. And Scarl, obviously, jumping off will allow him that distance.
Yeah, Zig used the ultimate there. Gives you a little bit of a shield based on the distance that you've gone, but used it a little late, too, because then Contracts targeted him, hit him a little bit. Meteos, though, I don't know, man. I thought
he's waiting for Ryu. Ryu's just off to the side. He's going to start hovering up now. May have attacked a little early. Ryu's going to distort over the wall. And here he comes to end it.
Jensen?
Meteos says that last fight wasn't how it should have gone. Undertow hits, and it could be another chain coming in from Ryu to lock him down. Cooldown's there. Distortion forward through the minions. Doesn't allow for the CC, but the auto follow-up does get the kill. 2 for 1, as you do mention. Meteos going down to the turret.
Yeah, that's exactly what P1 needed, too. They needed a kill on Jensen, and they needed to shut down Contracts. And Meteos just comes out, pops the Ghost. He's level 6 that time, pops the ultimate for extra damage, and then just smacks away on Contracts. Gets the kill, too. Contracts had already used his 4 ferocity. We'll see it there. He's at 2. Already used some abilities, though, to kill the Scuttle, so he doesn't have him up immediately. Heals himself, tries to run away, and then Jensen, too late to it, but you would expect your Rengar that has 3 kills to actually survive a little bit longer. They get the heal out of him and the flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, Meteos, one of those extra hits in there. Still goes down, but that's a Viking death right there.
Yes. Good job. That's all that needs to be said. They know they came out on top of that one. And a bit concerned about heading to lane and having to blow both of your summoners. He's just trying to charge a tier, get himself to that Rod of Ages. So Jensen would love to actually be in the lane, farming this one out. 1-1-1 for him, as we saying a little bit before, mid lane wasn't getting too much. Finds a lot of focus there.
Yeah, but the fact that Meteos is shutting down Jensen and Contracts and actually getting a little bit better of them. Sure, he fed a kill over the first time, which definitely not what you want, but it's still something that Cloud9 have never really been tested this split on that. Not a lot of teams focus Jensen or Impact and shut down Contracts, but Contracts has been one of the guys that, you know, he'll perform pretty inconsistently, and we'll see here. Oh, bad route from Ryu.
0 wards towards the middle, and that is going to be a thank you very much transfer of the blue buff. Goes to Jensen for, goes to Contracts for a refresh, not Jensen, that's what I wanted to say.
But 4-1.
Yeah, 4-1, and they still actually have their blue to pick up, so no worries there.
Yeah, 100% KP so far for Contracts. He's gonna pick up an Ocean Drake now for his troubles. Playing on the bottom side, you can see how far back Arrow is, just missing CS, because they could be dough. It wasn't an ultimate from the Rengar used, so they know he has it up, and there's the potential of a dive.
Contract switching things up, having a much better game. And he's actually kind of since starting with Cloud9 here has been quite a surprise as a young jungler. Bringing out, I think Ivern is one of the first for the NALCS, along with other few people, but still plays that to great effect. So
yeah, we kind of talk a lot about Akadi, and Contract's still a rookie as well. Hold on, Ryu up top. Zig might pop the ultimate here.
Ryu would like to get something back for just dying down towards that blue buff.
Yeah.
Ray looks pretty juicy right now. They're hanging out to see if he actually
stun.
changes his play. Ray, a nice buff back. Scarl's out as Zig tries to hold this fight in.
They see Ryu, though. Pop the Scryer's Bloom there, so now he's just going to rotate back to mid, pick up that minion wave that was shoved in by Jensen, as Jensen goes for the blue buff.
Seeing if they might have been able to find Contracts a little faster. And they did. That ultimate makes them knowledgeable. So backing off now. Ryu just farming up in the mid lane. Actually pretty quiet mid lane. 70 to 91 as these guys have been fighting. A little behind in CS, you would say, for where we usually see them.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of pressure.
On the trading pattern of Ryze against LeBlanc, he'll get a shield every time she jumps in if he just does the EW, the 2 spells back to back, and Q. And so he'll win most of the trades like that. So because of the early kill, Ryu can't do too much against that. Oh, but the swap, though. Interrupting Ray, going for him. He's got the smoke from Nami.
They are going to get it. Oh, Repulse back, shuts him down. Gets the hit from Nami to affect Arrow. And now they're going to be going out of Jensen in the mid lane. He gets out with the Realm Warp, causing a bit of chaos on the P1 side.
Meteor's like, you back. You go all the way back.
Contracts did go down.
Yeah, Contracts ended up diving there, I believe. Ryu gets out and still bottom turret under a lot of pressure here.
That's pretty fancy from Ray on the top side to keep himself alive. And now P1 act on that kill for Contracts, knowing there isn't just ult pressure coming from a Rengar, and they take this advantage to mid.
Yep. Interesting, though, they have to back off before they kill it because Ray is here as well. Top turret, though, damaged by Arrow. So now all the turrets have different pressure on them. Yeah, so he'll see the nearest person, jumps in, tries to kill Ryu, but then, hey, Meteos from the side, pops the ultimate for extra damage, can't be CC'd. Changes targets before the last turret shot, knows that he's going to die there.
Yep. That's quite an elongated engage as we saw him activate the ult and only try to do it about 30 seconds later. Top turret is down and lying in wait.
Yep.
Meteos and Adrian.
That was the first turret as well, so now they get complete control of the top side. Smoothie, though.
Bloop.
Drink him right up.
A little trouble breathing underwater there for Smoothie as he goes down. Sneaky now exhausted to keep him in range. Undertow hits from Meteos to follow-up damage. Meteos is on the tank, so this one works out perfectly.
Wow.
And they are out.
That's just a super clean dive there. These are the types of dives that you would see in games where you don't have a goal pretty much even. And hold on, Zig, look for Contracts. Other way around. You did root him.
He's like, oh, that's cool. It worked.
I did that.
Sometimes you want it, you don't. You want to go back in. They do, however, pressure Zig out of that. More so for Ray to be able to get that advantage in lane.
Yeah, this
one
might
turret
be
now per side.
Jumping forward there for the minion wave clear, trying to get rid of it so that this turret doesn't go down. Because that would be 2 turrets. Yep. Oh, Jensen does have flash. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it.
Just on the edge.
Oh, Jensen! Is he gonna get CC'd?
He got locked up. He got popped up. Oh, put himself in the tidal wave. Meteos with the undertow. Finds it in the axe throwing competition. And now it's going to be the challenge from Ray. He says, who wants to fight me? He's not able to get that last one. Oh, back over the wall. Ebb and Flow keeps Ryu alive, but Ray is also dashing over the wall. Now on to Zig as he tries to take down Contracts, but there are too many targets to focus. He is flung off. Arrow trying to fire back with Mystic Shots as the curtain is called, and will it end anyone? A great step forward from Adrian.
Oh,
sneaky in for not a final shot. He's got all 4 to go through. And 2 for 2 as that one fizzles out.
Yep, Arrow trying to defend this turret here. Doesn't have wave foot, doesn't have the ultimate just yet. If he can land some Qs, he might get it back in time, but no, they're just gonna let this turret fall.
Smoothie focusing on the turret. Sneaky trying to just apply the last bit of damage, and it is down. Oh, you had to know that was coming. Adrian caught up. Sneaky reading that one perfectly.
It's got an indicator and everything underneath his health bar, but sometimes you just don't think it's gonna be enough. And the laugh too, the laugh to boot from Ryu is like, look at this, this looks great. Starts it again, but Meteos is already there, and Jensen called the bluff there, and Adrian.
What a prediction! Just kidding. Just kidding.
It was a wave to cut off options so that he couldn't run down. He had to run up or use his ultimate there. So it would have either interrupted the first one, forced him to go up, or end up there based on where he'd actually selected it. But yeah, Ray actually looked like he was about to take over this fight because there was just so much healing when he got the 4 proc on his vitals. Ray does overextend here though. That is too far forward. And yeah, gets blown up there after the bubble from Adrian. And you can see, it's like, yeah, man, I know, used to play with Meteos, but apparently you can't mess with him. You give Meteos an inch, it's gonna take a foot.
He comes back.
Now look at that.
Ragnarok is on, and they have the chase. Bear Trap gonna lock down. They're gonna leave this one to Meteos, so Zig can turn back onto Jensen. They're gonna cut him off now as Meteos' goal side, but actually turns into the bad side as Cloud9 starts to pinch in on him. Ray is going to be able to take that one down as you see Arrow firing off some damage. Call comes in, Deadly Flourish hit on the Zig.
Ray in the back.
He's locked in. Ryu as well, trying to zero out Sneaky. A lot of 3-letter R's. It's all right. And they are out of that one. 1-for-1 junglers go down for all their troubles.
RY and a vowel. What's in a name? And still, Ryu gets that middle turret, and it's pretty close to being even in gold here. It's just 1,000 up for Cloud9. And most of that gold is on contracts in the jungle. But Meteos, 5 kills to his name. Guys being aggressive, and Phoenix 1, they're missing Inori. They're missing that guy who used to ignite things, but it doesn't seem like they're missing a beat here. It's a little more calculated, too, from them.
We'll see who has the better strategy and what's in line next as the map is kind of evening out a little bit, just around 30K each. And we have one more turret on each side to drop. It is in favor of Cloud9. I'd say that they can get through the middle side of the map. Ray should be able to grab the top turret here. Looks like they're just going to concede this one. Ocean Drake going over to P1 here as everybody sets up the map for what's to come.
And what's to come might be pretty fun here, because main reason that you would want to Kled in your composition is the ultimate, giving people an enormous boost of movement speed. When people first saw the ultimate, they were like, that is fast. That is ridiculously fast. It's more than a Sivir ultimate, and it just has a set path, though, and you have to follow it. But if you have an Olaf that wants to just run and truck their back line, it's perfect for them. So we might see a speedy Meteos, speedy Zig, as they try to pick people off later in the game.
Riding the wave in from Nami for a little more speed.
You could probably keep up with the wave in the Kled ultimate.
I'm trying to give you more speed, but you're just in front of it. Slow down. 9-8, as we have had a pretty good trade for kills here, back and forth. Contracts really hasn't been able to build up too many more kills. Once they shut him down at 4-0, the team was able to use that to pretty much get a few more core items along with the turrets down. And we've been seeing the stalemate on these fights. As I said, back and forth, 1-for-1. See if this last turret can go down. In the bot lane. Doesn't look like Ray's going to make that an easy task here.
Yep.
And Ryu on LeBlanc isn't the fastest turret taker.
No, not at all. But we did see him take a mid one. And Jensen may be looking for Zig in the future. Bear Trap on a rope, goes through minions, so yeah, he'll clear that way. But I'm interested to see what the rest of his build looks like, because we've seen Titanic Hydra for the extra auto attack reset. Because if you dismount and you have your violent tendencies up, oh, nice steal. Oh, ghosting. He's looking for him. Ryu's not done.
And now
oh, whoa, he's really not done.
Chain on to Ray. We're gonna have to welcome all the viewers from NALCS 2 here as we get into a fight. It is on to Ryu now as Ray feels like he wants to turn this one around for a kill, seeing Meteos from the other side. Jensen and the rest of the team on the top side here adding pressure. See how P1 can respond.
Yep, and you can see Cloud9 taking that top turret, and yeah, everybody joined over from the other stream. We're in game 2 right now. P1 took the first one, and they were about 10K gold up, but this is a game that Cloud9 have a bit of a hold on here, but it's been very bloody. It's been back and forth. We're almost at a kill per minute here, and it's been the junglers fighting most of the time.
Yep.
Like Meteos?
You can see the deaths on them too.
Yeah, that's true.
They're the ones in.
It's the YOLO junglers right now. I feel like Meteos, he's popping Ghost, and he's popping his ultimate as soon as possible because, I mean,
yeah.
if he loses, he's like, it's not my loss. I'm not on this team. It's a substitution.
Sure, that's
but
the forefront.
You do want to take down your former team. You want to try hard. You want to have a good showing. That's what I love about him too, is that he's just so aggressive. So he doesn't have that same pressure on him.
He actually finds a jungler he can do that on as well, and the Olaf this time being pushed all the way down. C9 even saying, you don't get the Elise. You don't get anything above this. And first picking that Jhin and Rengar in on the side. That seemed to help them out a little bit. But like you said, Meteos really helping to put this team back into the game. Roaming around with Ryu. We're still waiting to see the engage from Zig on this Kled in the top lane. The pick has interested all of us.
Contracts scouting around, there's actually nobody really even close to the Baron, so they're just trying to get control, trying to clear it out, make sure that they pass the 21-minute mark and actually start looking at it. And Meteos, oh, whoa, arrow, but there's the help.
Tidal wave, this could still be a dead Adrian. It's one final shot, and there it is. Oh! It's going to be the play-in as well. The Realm Warp coming in from Jensen to get into range. Now Meteos looks to clean up the fight. Ryu as well, the sigil on to Jensen. And now they look for Contracts. Contracts cues back. May give them a little bit more distance to do the damage. But Ray has the focus. The team is saying, yes, we're in a fight, but keep it calm and keep pushing the lanes.
Yeah, that's the bottom lane down for Phoenix 1. They ended up getting dove by Contracts, but hold on. Might be getting smoothie. Ooh.
That's the burn. Mantra Shield comes up. He's safe. And no follow-up there coming from Ryu. Double buffs as he tries to take a few fights for himself. And the team backs off of this one.
Yep, Zig returns to the top lane to just clear it out. And you can see Ray continues to shove up here, but then Zig will get to these fights faster. The crit comes through. You'll crit the first person that you have that vision on. And then Adrian takes all the shots. Even absorbed that last one too. But then Jensen had come through with the Realm Warp. That's so much damage from Zig. Then the exhaust comes down, but Jensen is pretty much done for at that point. And Skarl's the other death. Well, actually, he doesn't die. He just runs away into the nearest brush. Apparently, there's a point where if you sweeper the brush that he ran into, you can see his outline. It's pretty creepy.
But he's not really there.
Yeah, he's always watching. It's just...
Oh, nice distortion step over. He thought he was going to chain right away. Ray is trying to dodge left and right. Tip, dodge. Ray almost stays alive.
He's out.
Meteos is going to make it out alive on this one. Ragnarok and Ghost again. Like you said, the moment they see an opening, Meteos is up front, and you almost have to respect it and step back to assess what other members are behind Meteos.
I just love this from him because he's assessing the situation so quickly, but also he's not letting the previous failures scar him and condition him to not do that, because he went in previously on a 2-0 Rengar and just tried to 1v1 him at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Then he dies. It's the 3-0 Rengar.
What happened a minute and a half later?
He comes in on a 4-0. I think it was like a 4-0 or 3-0 Rengar, and then he kills him. And then he had the backup of Ryu, and they killed Jensen. And that was what really got them back in the game. So Meteos, sure, they're dying by him in the early game, but they're living by him throughout the rest of it. Hold on, though. Speaking of dying and living, this bush.
Muramana now finished up 4 arrow. And just about the same amount of time we saw Sneaky's last game.
Oh, there's the ulti.
He's rolling through. You can see they're flying behind. Here comes Arrow. It's going to be Jensen now going down immediately as Thunderlords strikes him. And now they're on to Sneaky. They're going to have to slalom through a few minions, but Smoothie is next if they even need to. The minion wave is just behind them after they go for the Baron attempt.
Yeah, they're going to go for the Baron here. Contract's still up, but Ray also has teleport, and he's been splitting bottom. Ray's just trying to get back into this game, and Zig is like, no, I'm going to help my team snowball. Gold even right as that fight was happening, but this might be a straw that breaks the camel's back and P1 start getting a lead.
No contest for the Baron coming in. The shield, you can see Smoothie wasn't even trying to attack Ryu. He knew he had the distance and the close. They take out Contracts. Solo there for Ryu. And the Baron is going to go over to P1. Once again, Phoenix 1 coming out strong when they can against Cloud9.
Oh, man. And Ray split pushes, doesn't get a turret, just pushes the minion wave all the way up. And it's not like a Drake or anything taken afterwards. So now P1, they have priority in these lanes, and they have the Baron buff to shove him out. All right, now Zig.
Oh. And they have hardly any vision diving into this here.
I mean,
so
he's totally fine. He jumps in, he's like, Scarl, that kills people. And that's exactly what he's trying to do to Jensen. Locks onto him, jumps through. And then he got sectioned off. He was the only person there. Everybody else didn't walk the same way. And it's a 4-on-5 to start. And that's why Zig pulled the trigger. He's like, I see Ray getting that bottom tier 2 minion wave. Time to go. And that's one of the powers of Kled, is that initiation. Don't need to take Sivir. You have her.
The quick distortion ward coming in from Ryu as he just tries to get some vision. Pressure as well for the team to grab Dragon. And E1 again with one of these compositions that it seems they have Cloud9 with their backs turned on those engages. You saw that last time with the equalizers coming through. Cloud9 would have to turn around and reassess the fight. Now it's just Zig and Meteos causing C9 to turn tail and then turning around to get that fight. They are already a little bit down in HP. So P1 to keep the strength back up. We said the only kind of glaring weakness in that first game was the Baron, where they allowed Cloud9 to get back in.
Oh yeah, it was when they were trying to close the game off, and then the Elder Dragon ended up getting done. But this game, it just seems Meteos has taken charge. And so is Ryu, but Contracts was sitting there expecting that. But didn't jump out, didn't show himself, and Ryu was just a quick one. He was just joking, it's just a prank.
2 control wards as Ryu can go back and forth. Actually, nicely dodging out the warding path.
Oh, there's the engage. And got one. But it's a zoning ult.
Yeah, it also brings everybody who wasn't 2 feet away closer.
Yep.
14 to 11. P1 just flexing their muscles as they get inside the base here.
Oh, why are they sticking around?
Contracts tries to fight this one. That's the exhaust out distortion forward on Contracts. They are pulling the trigger on C9's base. Ray has to back from the top side.
You did it too!
And he teleports into this one. Can't actually get himself into the fight to do any damage. He's just there for power and numbers. And here comes the next minion wave, Baroned up by P1's previous moves.
Yep.
And one more
next
turret.
TP in.
Yep.
Went back for home guard, went to get full HP. They're trying to take down the #1 team.
It's going to be a lockdown. Smoothie misses. He goes for the focus onto Zig. Nexus first down. There's nothing that Cloud9's going to be able to do from top to second. An 0-2 week for C9, and P1 comes up with the victory over Cloud9 in 2 games.
Meteos would continue to play with Phoenix 1 for the remainder of the regular season, helping the team achieve a 3rd-place finish. And while the memes of Darth Meteos have calmed in the past year, his battle against Sneaky continues. Be sure to tune in to the next chapter of the saga this weekend with Optic Gaming versus Cloud9 on Sunday afternoon. That's going to do it for this episode of Classic Legends. In coming weeks, we'll continue to recall epic games from North America's past. And as we do, be sure to let us know which games you're watching out for by tweeting at LOL Esports with your favorite games using the hashtag Classic Legends. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you this weekend as we create more Classic Legends in Week 5 of the LCS. Good night.